come to order. Please rise for pledge allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Minutes are recorded to aid in their preparation. Approval of minutes for December 7th.
I just see one correction on page 4, under delinquent accounts, second line, at the very end of that line, the water delinquencies, I believe the cents on that is 38 instead of 82,
Okay.
and that's all I saw. So I make a motion that the minutes be approved with that change.
Second.
Been Reagan moved and seconded to accept our minutes with the change. Any discussion? All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Minutes approved. Visitors.
Fives Reynolds.
I'm Dave Hammaker, speaking on behalf of Fouts Reynolds tonight. I'm here to discuss the $10 per EDU sewer rate. Did everyone get one of these papers and get a chance to read it? Yep. Do you have any questions on what's before you? Those?
Question on my behalf, if we'd advertised this, say, in September, would this have cooked us away?
It would have, because all our tenants are in a 1-year lease.
I understand that. I was there one time, I understand how you folks operate.
Yeah, so we gotta give them a 60-day notice, but not until the year's lease is up. So that second page is what shows you every month that new tenants come, or that the lease comes up. So then that's when we can implement that rate increase. And this rate increase is gonna go straight to them, because we operate on a budget just like you do, so.
Yep. Any comments from the board? Huh?
I don't think we should.
For what, the proposal? Okay. Anybody else have any comments on the board? in
Honestly,
regards
we
to
need the money.
proposal?
We need the money. Tell us to it.
On my behalf, I think it's on the records that I've been expressing my concerns in regards to our rate increase, clean back in, probably at least June, if I'm not correct. I think the solicitor and he's been talking pretty much on that, should be in our minutes. I understand the complications on what it does impact you, Dave, I do. I understand that. I sat here and did rough numbers before you even proposed that, and my numbers on a rough base guesstimate weren't too far off. I was surprised. I didn't really know how many units you were. I just counted and took a quick guess and rounded up and rounded down. Now I know how many units. I understand it. I don't know what we can do about it. The situation we have at hand right now, our budget, if you wish to see it, we can propose you one. At the present rate, we're gonna have a hard time breaking even as we are. Okay, and there's our rate increases. We have different operators, different costs have changed, chemicals have changed. You guys know, you guys got
Yeah.
the same situations.
Well, one constant I do know since the 90s is our check is never late.
I understand that, and I
And,
realize that you guys are a good
We have
customer.
174 units now, so it's not like we're asking for a discount forever. We're asking for a discount so we can pass this over, so this makes us at least break even, which we're not going to, but it's less of a shock to us. So then the second part of this was to maybe give us a vacancy rate that could be out of the question altogether. When we have vacant units.
You say you got 3 to 5 vacancies per month.
That's an average.
Do those vacancies generally get filled within that month's time frame, or do they generally carry on for a month or two?
It's usually a 4 to 5 every month period, and then they're rented. This summer, we didn't have any vacancies, so it all depends. We're just trying to give you an average of what it would be.
Correct.
I mean,
I know when we did the surveys at times and walked around up in there, I did a lot of survey walking up in there, and I noticed that most of the time you guys always had a fairly full occupancy. I mean,
Yeah,
very
it
seldom
is
do you
usually
have-
full. I mean, a year and a half ago, there was one point where we had 25 vacancies.
Yes.
But that didn't stop us from paying the sewer bill at that
Right,
time.
and I understand that too.
And there's other municipalities that do make exceptions for that. Marysville being one of them, they give a 60% vacancy rate when the place is vacant. And that's been forever. Now, that might not be something you can do, but I think the first part of this is definitely reasonable and can do.
Here's my position on this.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Your leases, do they, is it a fixed monthly rent? In other
Yes.
words, it's, say,
Right.
600 a month?
Yes.
So the lease doesn't have separate figures for sewer, it's all in one number?
Right.
I have the exact same problem on a much smaller scale. I mean, I just found out about this and I can't change it now, so leases are done.
Your present customers that are already there, are they required to renew a lease yearly, or do they keep an open contract lease after the first year? I'm talking to Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's 1 year, it's year to year. So if they want a 60-day renewal, they have to pay X amount more to give a 60-day, if that makes sense. So they're not locked into a year, then it goes every 60 days, but most people are gonna sign up and go for a whole year.
Okay.
Because it's cheaper for them.
Correct,
It makes
because you
more
lock them
sense.
in.
Right.
Right, I
'cause they're locked
understand
in.
that. Back when I was there, that option
Right,
wasn't there at
right.
that time. I mean, you guys made some substantial changes since then, I understand that.
Yeah, for sure.
For the benefit of both sides.
Yes,
And,
definitely.
and I understand that too.
Mr. Coker, you had a comment for me?
I do. Obviously, I'm a ratepayer also. Okay. Obviously, I'm not really enthused about paying an extra $10 a month. Okay. I didn't see this until I came in here tonight. I'm not asking for $2.50 a quarter. I'm gonna pay my cost. Okay. This authority is, as Henry mentioned, is working on a shoestring right now. We have extremely large bills coming in. We got one that's coming in tonight, probably over $3 grand. Unexpected. We have to do something. Unfortunately, this is part of the do something. Okay?
I agree with that 100%.
And I can't in good conscience ask our ratepayers to pay their share when someone is asking for basically a discount.
For a year.
Right.
But it's a little bit different.
Well,
You're not talking about one ED, you're talking about 174 coming from one person.
I understand
That
that.
is a huge difference.
I understand that also. After I like I said, I didn't see this until I came in here tonight. But, it is what it is. We need the revenue. Otherwise, we're gonna be in trouble. Am I
It's true.
not
That's
true?
Absolutely.
So,
Now, I have a question for you. Are you also aware of the tax increase that has come from the township, from the municipality itself?
No.
Okay, your taxes for the township have more than doubled in the last month for the new year. So that's something else to take into consideration. You were paying .5644 mil currently. They added a quarter mil to that, plus a 0.85 mil fire tax. So you're going to presently be paying 1.6644 mil. It has more than doubled your municipal taxes. So with that being said, how do you propose to, or do you propose to approach the township about the tax increase? Because that's also going to affect, I would assume that you would add in your property taxes into the amount you charge for your rent. I know that's how I do with mine, that, you know, you take your tax amount as part of what you charge for your monthly rental. If that goes up, your rental has to go up. So that is increased as well. So that is.
So we'll have to cross that bridge when we know that. But you're telling me it's
That's-
happening.
Yes, that was enacted last month.
Yes, that's definitely gonna happen. You will see that probably
In your February
you'll see
bill.
that February bill, so we've don't like to be a grim reaper of bad news. Hate to say that, but
One comment that, for what it's worth, sort of following up on some of the comments that the board members have made. The board did get an inquiry from Penn Twp, who is the authority's primary lender for a lot of the debt that's outstanding, that inquired about the authority's ability to make its debt service payments, and asked, you know, because they see our financial situation and knew that with the rentals that were in place last year, it probably was going to be difficult, if not impossible, for the board to make those debt service payments. So the board essentially had to commit to Penn Twp that it was going to be adopting a rate increase so that they would feel secure, if you will, in their loans. So that's another complication to the board undoing or discounting the increase that it put in place. I'm not saying it would be impossible to do, but it's a complicating factor. It's a lot went into the budget process and the consideration behind the rate increase. It's unfortunate. It's something that's, well, I guess it's sort of been discussed on and off for many months.
better part of a year, we've seen this coming. Probably the biggest mistake we've done is we did not let people like you know in at least 3 months in advance. And on my behalf, I'm apologetic to that. Because I did discuss it openly in here, at least 6 months, probably going on 9 months, when we started watching our quarterly statements where we were heading. And in, I know in June I made a statement in regards to where this was heading, and we were still trying to be decisive whether it was gonna be a $5 or a $10 item. And probably we should have been a little bit more proactive notifying the community in regards to that. And I accept apology for that, and I apologize for that. You know, I take some responsibility for that. There should have been a little bit more upfront in that statement. On my behalf, I feel bad for that, because you folks, like you say, you are one of the most reliable paying customers that we have. And it does have an impact on you people, being probably the largest one we have too. I'm sure you are. What is the consensus of this board?
But before we do that, I don't know, Dave, if you're aware of the delinquencies that we are carrying right now.
Yeah, like 90,000?
No.
Yeah, 106,000.
It's almost 110,000
It's 100.
as of tonight. That hurts our pocketbook also. And it's just, with the additional $10 a month, I got a bad feeling that that's going to increase. So here again, you know, the hole's getting deeper, more or less, because some of these people we have tried, and Dennis has worked his butt off to get the dollars that are due us. I mean, Elmer and I are both water and sewer customers of this authority, and it, you know, we look at these every month, and it's appalling. And I'm going to talk to the board tonight about doing something about that. So Here again, if we could pull out $110,000, we might be able to do something, but in my opinion, I can't. I in good conscience, cannot do this because it affects the rest of our ratepayers to a point.
If I may, the second component of the request here,
The vacancies.
yeah, is something that, the board, I mean, not saying that you've just been presented this, so you may want to think about that. I don't think that is a matter that you've ever discussed or debated, if you will. So if that is something you want to think about, we could gather some information and see.
I mean, that's something that we could gather for this year and maybe address it for the coming next year. I mean, I'm not against going over some of this stuff like that suggestion, you know what I'm saying? That, in the long term, it's not gonna make a big difference, but maybe vacancies do cost you folks money. There's no doubt about it. And maybe that's something we could look into beginning next year and extend it out. I mean,
How much of a billing headache would that be? Because I know we've had this discussion before when places are put up, and I know this is a little bit different, but it's along the same lines. When a house is put up for sale, the people move out, it sits vacant. And we've said we know obviously there's no one in that house, so why do we have to keep billing? Well, if we don't know when it's sold, when they move back in. Obviously, it's a little different with you folks because you know when you get tenants, you would notify. But I know when that was discussed before, there was some concern as far as the billing for continuity on billing and just the passage of information.
Yeah, you've had very few exceptions to, the problem the board faces is they get requests, somebody will say, well, I'm not gonna be in my house for the summer, for instance, I'm going to wherever, New England, so I'm not gonna be using the sewer system, I shouldn't have to pay sewer rental. And the board really just, can't function that way, because then you get to the point where somebody's saying, well, I'm going away for a week in the summer, and I wanna, cut my bill down for August, because I won't be there the whole month. One exception the board did approve was when the only person living in a house dies and the property is then placed into an estate to be sold. I think you've granted some relief there for I believe a year. It's a limited amount of time, or until the property's occupied again, whichever comes first. Otherwise, in the typical residential home situation, the board is required, if you don't want to pay sewer rental, you've got to physically disconnect your property from the sewer. And then when you want to reconnect, you've got to pay a tapping fee, et cetera, which makes it not cost effective unless you know it's going to be vacant for a substantial period of time. But I don't think the board has ever taken up a situation quite like yours with the number of units you have and the vacancy rate. I mean, certainly everybody knows there's, not every unit is occupied 100% of the time. That would be a real nice situation for you.
It was for a while, but
yeah,
that's not the case all the time.
But it's just not realistic to expect that. So certainly the board could review that. I could take a look at it. Just sitting here, I don't think there would be a legal impediment to doing something like that. And it sounds like somebody else is, so
Yeah.
Obviously I'd go to Marysville right away and find out.
Basically, there's a
right,
form
yeah.
that landlords fill
Right.
out that say that it's vacant, it started vacant at this time, we give them the person that moved out.
Yeah.
And then when it's filled, we give them the same form that says this person moved in, so they know who's in there, and this is when it starts.
Well, and that's very helpful, because otherwise, part of the reason that the board hasn't done more with this is it's hard to police it.
Right.
Because you really don't know when places are vacant
Right,
or not
right.
vacant. I mean, we're taking your word for it
Right.
anyway, but at least there's some reporting on a regular
Yes.
basis that helps with that part of the problem.
I do, I mean, I'm very familiar with the place up there, and I'm soon going to have to get off this, and move on. I do believe you guys try to do your best to keep the cost down, so you keep it fully occupied.
Yeah.
And for many, many years, I've known that that place was a hard place to get into because the rent, everybody was going there. And I think you guys do a very good job with that, and I commend you for that, because that helps you guys and helps us keep things going. I just don't, at this moment, see us being able to do anything. I would like to, I really would, but at the present moment, with the cost structure that we have, we took $10 and there was discussion of more, and I was adamant against that. That was the maximum I was interested in going, till we see how this is gonna stabilize. I hope there's no more coming, I really do.
Can we take a look at this in 6 months? Can we take a look at this in
I
6
would be
months?
entertaining to look at this in 6 months. The vacancy thing, I would be willing to discuss a little bit more detail. That's something that I would entertain probably come the next year, so we could kind of put a proctor into our structure. You know, if we could get a little bit more detail on that. I know it's not helping you at the present moment. And
Well,
I
thanks
know,
for considering.
I know you're not gonna be happy with the rest of the things that's gonna happen from the community tax base that's coming. I hope you can weather through it without too much hardship. I really do believe that. I hope you can.
Well, 6 months will give Dennis some time to.
Oh, sure.
Yes,
Look
we'll
at
do
that.
some of that research. Please, come back. Communicate with us in another 5, 6 months, somewhere in there, and see what we have and what we can do for that.
And please communicate with us if it's gonna go up again.
We will, in my
Ahead of time.
opinion, I'm gonna be a proponent of making sure that we give a 60 to 90-day notice.
That would be helpful.
I would sooner be pushing towards the 90-day if I can possibly make that happen. Our rates are gonna go up in January, so something like that would happen, say September, October. That's where we would go with this. I do believe we made a mistake by not doing that this year. This is the first time we've experienced that, and I apologize on my behalf, I don't know about the rest of the board, for that mistake. I really do. That was something we did not consider. We did not consider you folks at all. Especially for as big of a customer as you are to us. We should have thought about that.
Well,
And I
thank
know
you.
it's no consolation because it's apples to oranges. I only have one tenant, but my tenant doesn't even know that there's an increase yet on the municipal side or the sewer side. And they're on a,
Ours are hearing about it already.
and they're on a fixed income, and I just dread the thought of telling them because I don't wanna lose a tenant. And so I understand, I totally understand. And we should have, it was discussed at least 6
Yes.
months ahead, at least.
Yeah,
And the decision should have been made way before it was.
Not to be an apologist for the board, but, you know, the rates had gone down, if you know, that more recently, it was, what, $80, I think, or
It
it's
was
highest,
70.
and it came down, so it's been a while since there's been an increase, and I'm just not sure, and the concern was, there was hope upon hope that maybe, you know, something will happen that we won't have to do this or can minimize it, so there probably was a little bit of procrastination just because we were hopeful that something would break loose here that could help in not increasing it.
An example, $50,000 worth of revenue is a $5 increase. What's basically amounting to us, okay? That's what it's generating to help make up income. And with the delinquencies, if we could have eliminated 50% of our delinquencies, we would have been able to help stabilize that for at least another year. Just 50% of it. If we eliminated 100 of it, 100% of it, we could have probably maybe kept things down, but we'd have probably took a 5 and a 5, you know what I'm saying? And that's the direction we were really hoping to go to. If we were gonna make rate increases, we were shooting for a 5 and then see how it worked and go for another 5, and hopefully the delinquencies were going down. We fought a battle for a whole year, and we lost it.
Well, the other thing that we lost too the state was not kind to us either as far as grant money. I mean, they promise, yes, we have it, and then they yank it out from under us.
I mean,
And
that's another story though.
after,
That's-
but still, I mean, it's money that we had to expend ahead of time
Yep.
for, I don't wanna say for no reason, but
Well, no, you incurred a lot of engineering.
Yes,
The
we
board
did.
incurred an awful lot of engineering expense.
Mhm.
And I think partly with the expectation that we were gonna put together some of this grant money for, the water project. And of course, now that money's gone and there's no way to really recoup it. Unless and until that project gets back on the board.
I will also say on my behalf that I will keep this and look over it, do a little bit more thinking about it. I mean, I wished I'd had this a little sooner, so I'd had a little bit more time to digest it, but, the time frame, I think, is the biggest thing we need to address. And there might be an ordinance that we're gonna suggest to bring that up, so we have an ordinance, we have a budget by the end of December. Can't carry over, so we have an ordinance for that. Maybe we'll make an ordinance that we have to have something done by a certain date, that way nobody's getting blindsided.
Okay,
That's
thank-
probably our biggest mistake, and I'm
by
sorry for
the end
that.
of the third quarter.
Okay?
Right.
Do you want to, are you gonna make a vote?
We'll talk about that, get Dennis to,
Make consensus.
Yeah, you don't have
Consensus,
you don't
right?
have to
Okay.
vote.
okay? Next.
Oh, you have Mr., John Kelch is next on the agenda.
Yeah, today I called, I guess, up on top of Sunshine Hill the other day, there was a water main break.
Yeah.
My water didn't come back on today. I
And
finally
you
did
live
get-
at,
What's that?
36.
36 Jefferson Street. Yeah, I guess sediment clogged my line after they started, after they got the water main break. Sediment came down and clogged my line. As like I took today off work because I was going on the third day that I had no water. And I was trying to get it fixed and everything. I actually finally did get it fixed before I got the meeting, but I still I figured I was scheduled to come to the meeting, so I came anyhow. But it's just a whole big headache. You know, I called and talked to the secretary, there's nothing. I called and talked to these guys, there's nothing we can do. It's like there's nothing, you know. One saying call one saying call the other, and I'm calling both of them. There's nothing, you know.
and you say you did get it fixed.
Yeah, I did get it fixed.
Okay, what was the issue?
It was just sediment clogged up my line,
In the filter or in your line outside the building?
in my line outside the building.
Okay, and what'd you do, how'd you clean that out?
I just let it started trickling water out. I just let water pressure build up and it opened up and it blew all the sediment out the line. But yeah, in the meantime, I was going on the third day with no water. I was starting to, it's like, what's going on here? I got 3 kids in the house.
At the present moment, I wished I could say we were gonna get this whole situation up on that hill fixed. But if you've been following anything at any time lately, it's kind of at a standstill. Probably till 14th of January, till Mr. Siegel communicates with
19th?
19th, Duncannon. Evidently, they're gonna have a meeting and hopefully this thing, they've put things on hold. Hopefully by then, there'll be a direction that we can start. There is the support of both sides at the present moment. The authority itself already has a substantial amount of money into this. And we're sitting here deadlocked. I mean, we already know the total cost, if it was just on our behalf, was 1.6, something like that. And there's no way that the structure of this community can afford anything like that. I mean, we got that structure just on the sewer system package side is substantial enough at the present moment. So we're really hoping for this grant money. We've tried every option. We've tried 2 different grant options so far. Now we're into the third one. And I really hope that this is a success. I'm optimistic. We'll see where it goes. I mean, we've got the support of Cheetah, And they're really working diligently to try to pull this out, because they think it's beneficial for all the community, as well as Penn Township especially, you know. Now, it may not fix the infrastructure, but it will have a good water source supply, which then we gotta address the rest later on. And if that's in place, I wish we had more water pressure. If we had more capabilities of flushing, we would spend the money and put flush points at the end of all the dead end lines. I guarantee you, I'd be the first proponent to do that. But we have a system that will not allow us to tax ourselves to it that much. We had a major hiccup here back in October, Lou, with the water loss, and it was we thought we were gonna lose everything up there, and it would not have been pretty.
Yeah, just today, it was the third day going to water, everybody else around me had water, people down the hill had water, and it's like, I ain't got no water, I can't go another day without water. It's, these guys, they came out, they came out and they looked at it and said, you gotta get a hold of the township. Oh, it's like, I got a hold of the secretary, she's like, there's nothing I can do. I said, there's nobody there. I'm like, there's only, there's nobody you can call. No, there's nobody.
How old is your house?
1963.
1963? Okay, I will,
53.
if that's the original piping system, I will make a suggestion to you. Is it a copper line? Okay. We've had previous experiences up there. They got substantial blockage in it, just due to their age of the infrastructure, okay? There's been other people that's already had theirs repaired up there. They
Replaced.
replaced.
Repairing it's not an issue.
Right, they replaced
It's
it,
not gonna help.
and they replaced it with a 1
1
inch.
inch.
Okay. So, PVC,
PVC,
okay?
not PVC.
I realize it's a financial expense in every household up there, but when your houses are to that age and structure, being knowledgeable of mechanical contracting protocols, I would encourage everybody to evaluate that, and if they could, replace it from the curb valve in. It's a benefit for you right now, because even upon the upgrades of the system, you're already ahead of the game. Okay? This is probably not, I hope it fixed it, I hope it stays that way, and you don't think about fixing it, but I'm gonna say it's not.
It's not going to.
It's not going
No,
to.
it's-
It's gonna gradually grow shut,
Yeah.
okay, just due to the age. I mean, over the years, I've involved in stuff in Duncannon over the years, and replaced a couple, 3 or 4 of them in 20 years over the years, and they've failed the same way. Okay, so it's not an uncommon thing due to the old,
Yeah, it's
territory and infrastructure, and that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with it on our side, and you folks are dealing from the curb valve in, okay? Even if we put a new system in, and you have the old one in, you're still gonna have the complications, because it's already there.
It'll actually probably blow the pipe apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, once it comes together. I mean, everybody up there, they'd be much further ahead if they addressed it now than we do the tie-in into you, and we're responsible for all that problems and headaches. If not, then it goes the other way. So it's a suggestion on behalf. I'm glad you came to the board meeting. I'm glad you got your water back on service.
Yeah.
Sorry that we weren't able to be a little bit more supportive of you, but there's a couple other, I'm sure there's a lot of other residents up there that are gonna have issues with.
Yeah, I figure I thought it was getting nowhere, it's like, I need water.
Yep.
Just to let you know, the problem is everybody on the board has full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And I can't do anything until they give me approval when they're paying the bill. If you're paying the bill, you can tell me to go ahead and do it, and we'll bill you. That's where I say you have to call the township, because you gotta report it to them.
Yeah.
And then basically Karen's gonna tell you, call Jody, because he
That's
deals
right.
with water problems, but
Because we didn't know what, we figured it had to be done, but
I mean, probably within a 24-hour time frame, most of the board can be communicated to, and we can probably come to a consensus if there's an error to do. I mean, our biggest concern is with this whole issue was get the system back on.
Yeah.
And from the little bit I was involved in it and understood, these gentlemen went around and they were actually able to find another isolation valve, which allowed more people to get water service back online. So the idea was, we just didn't stop, we did some more research, because it's an old system and we're still trying to figure out what all's up there. Okay? We bought this thing the way it is, and we've been trying to maintain it to the best level we possibly can. I don't know, Elmer, when it was original owner, was the water service saying back,
The original owner.
or when the
Way
person?
back mid-50s that it was installed.
Yeah, but when the people that owned it before the township got, or the municipal authority
Oh,
got?
Dash?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was your service like then?
I built up there in '72. I've not had a problem, but,
There's always been a problem with iron and manganese.
Yeah.
Until
I
we
mean,
take that iron and manganese out, we're gonna have those kind of problems.
Yep.
That's all it's to it.
but the thing about the infrastructures, and Jody can attest to this, and I saw it myself yesterday. There's a mishmash of piping under that ground.
Yeah.
It's not bedded correctly
It's not better
at all.
at all.
Yeah,
I mean, we're probably surprised we don't have more problems.
absolutely.
Well, that's the worst place, I think, to install.
Well, we
Really.
replaced it from.
Well, I know you did, but I said that's probably the worst place in the whole,
Well,
well.
You know, some places you got, what,
There
inch
was,
and a
there
half
was,
to
there was
2 inch?
5 different types of pipe from, in 17 feet of trench, there was 5 different types of pipe.
It was
5.
awful.
5. We pulled 150-pound rocks out of the ditch sitting directly on 2-inch pipe, thin wall, SDR 21. I mean, what do you expect? It's not gonna happen again, but your bill didn't stop at $3,000, just to
Oh,
let you know.
I'm sorry.
I mean, but it's done
It
right
had- it had to
now,
be
from the
fixed.
street
Right.
all the way to the curb. It's 2-inch, high-density GT 160 polyethylene pipe.
But we don't know what's in front of John's place, do we?
No, but
know.
I'm gonna tell you right now, all these lines, these people are gonna keep calling, and they're gonna keep calling, they're gonna keep calling. The manganese is an issue,
You bet it is.
it's an issue, but it's not the only issue. It's 60, 70-year-old pipe.
Well,
And I'm telling you right now, I don't care if you had crystal clear water, copper can't handle that.
Yeah.
After a while, it's gonna go.
It's not all copper, there's a lot of that asbestos concrete pipe.
Oh, yeah,
too.
I've seen some of that too. I'm just telling you, but the problem that it puts me in, the homeowners get upset. I'm trying to not spend your money, because the reason why they do have these big bills is because we send them big bills. But, you know, we had a crew there, I myself was there, I'm the one that shut the water off to half the development, because I got there, the tanks were at 0. There was no pressure. Water meters were spinning around the ring, chemicals were going out, and we have no idea where the leak is. And we try to find it. Thank God, Elmer actually found it, right?
Yeah.
You know.
He called me, and it was bubbling, it was just
Oh, yeah.
bubbling.
You know, and we did I did what I thought was best. We shut it down. We tried to find the other curb stop. We couldn't find
Next
it.
day
It
we
was
did.
8 o'clock at night. But we had a crew there in the middle of the rain from
All
7
day.
o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock the following night. I mean,
I can't see how you treat your people that way, that's terrible.
I have to say this openly, that
I've been
Jody's
there.
people-
You know what
I've
I'm
been on
talking
that side
about.
of the fence, I know what it's like.
Jody's people are super, they are.
and we try to be nice to people. I mean, every time I pull in the truck out there, I mean, there's people that are upset. I know why you're upset.
Yeah, my water was
I know
working
why you're
before the
upset,
water main
you
break,
know?
and it didn't work.
Let's move it.
But you
That's
gotta
why I
understand
was-
that the guys, I mean, like, we didn't install it, we're trying to fix it, we're trying to find, I mean, these are the drawings I have to try to find stuff. And, I mean, literally, some of those drawings up there aren't coming off houses, they're coming off trees, and guess what? Those trees aren't there anymore. You know, I mean,
All right, if you can keep in the back of your mind that it is, I'll suggest it is in the future for you, whether it's this year, summer, next summer, however it's gonna take,
Yeah.
I would encourage you to replace your infrastructure and be prepared, so hopefully when we do perform ours, it's a smooth transition, okay? It would be a benefit for everybody up there I mean, it's an improvement to your property, but it's one of the hidden things that a big pain in the neck for you.
Yeah.
Okay? So, I apologize on behalf of the board for the inconveniences. I'm glad to see you got water back on.
Mhm.
I don't know what more I can say about it.
Okay.
Okay?
It's back on, it's all matters.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jody, you have been flushing pretty regularly, right?
Twice a month now.
Okay.
Once a month wasn't cutting it. We got the email from the lady down in Butcher Shop, so we flushed yesterday again.
Okay.
Yeah, yesterday. And we're gonna do it mid-month. We're going
Okay.
twice a month at the 2 flush stations.
And
And we did
the-
the extra flush stations that Keith Shanahan asked us to do. We did that on the, whatever I sent you the note, the 20th, when Keith sent it.
Okay. Did you stop by the office and get a lock to lock the hydrant for,
I have not.
okay, get a chance, do it, no big deal.
I got, It's
Sam
just-
said there's locks down there,
yeah.
okay?
I was going through Sam's desk today. I had a little bit of time to get through some stuff. I didn't find the lock. I found the master lock box, but there's no locks in it.
All right, maybe
So
we need
I'll-
to come up with more. Okay?
I'll talk to him about it.
All right, thanks. Susan?
Next one is Mike Ward, although that's on the engineer's report.
I think we'll address him underneath that.
Okay, then, and Lou and Jim, that's it. Everybody else is on the rest of them are our engineers and people like Mr. Johnson who do not wish to speak.
Well, it sounds like I should get a gold star for being paid ahead.
Okay. Engineers report.
Have it back.
You have a copy of the engineer's report. I will do some communication here since the beginning of the year. It would have been a good time with the water, well, the water really wasn't down that long to terminate that other pump. That would have been probably a good little niche in there. But I'm gonna make the attempt to see if I can't get a little help.
I'm still waiting for your phone call to meet you up there.
I might just get a hold of Lou and tell him we're gonna do it. He can be there on standby and it's just gonna happen,
I'll bring the dynamite.
okay? That's the biggest thing with the Sunshine Hill, is to get that well disconnected. And that's more or less in my lap. And right now, the amount of work I've got right now, I can't physically do that on a voluntary basis because I'm 14-hour days right now.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
And I could be there now, but I'm not.
You're a hero.
I think that's pretty much gonna take now. Sunshine Hill, I think that pretty much takes care of the engineer's report in regards to that. Okay, Mr. Ward, you're the other half of the engineer's report.
The whole other half?
Yeah,
She said there was other people on.
not the engineer's report.
I don't wanna be the whole other half.
All right, I assume that you're aware of the issue that we have.
Well, I can tell you what I'm aware of, and you can tell me if I haven't read whatever report you're looking at, I don't think, unless Mr. Shadow.
I think Mr. Shadow pretty much should have communicated the
Yeah,
majority
I
of it to you.
communicated probably
Okay.
the guts of this, yeah.
Well, to paraphrase, it's my understanding that I don't know if usage is the right term, is that the right term? I mean,
I am, you know,
Well, I'm not entirely sure that's the problem, and we can go into that. The amount of gallons running through the system
correct.
are.
We got more in than what we were negotiated with you
Yeah,
to come to a
I
point.
understand that. And I will not discount the possibility that infiltration is at the minimum part of the problem. At the maximum, it may be the whole problem. I don't think it is right now, and the reason I say that is because, and when I say I don't think it's the problem, I don't know to what degree it's the problem. I'm hoping it won't be any of the problem.
Okay, I'm gonna give you basically a simplicity of what it is. You have 10 EDUs right now allotted for your property,
Right.
okay? At the present situation, the way I'm seeing it, we are pushing almost double of that through this monitoring system.
If you average the numbers, that is what I understand is
Okay.
being said. Now, part of the problem may well be infiltration. I have taken some steps to try to eliminate, I think at the very beginning, and I've been in contact with your engineer, by the way, and my engineer, and Mr. Shadow to some degree. We had a couple open lines that we weren't aware of. We searched out through different means and plugged them, and that seemed to take care of some of it. I did speak to your engineer and Mr. Chateau. I am gonna have to come back down and go to a supervisor's meeting. Apparently, I brought it to Mr. Chateau and your engineer's attention. One of the problems we have, and this goes back many, many years, I've been trying to get somebody to clean out the drainage, the storm drainage situation on Schoolhouse Road, which has never happened at all, to my knowledge. If it has happened, it's filled back in again. We have, I could draw you a picture. I mean, I came down right after work, but you're familiar with the area.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Up on the Schoolhouse Road, the great big stone house, that, from what I understand, used to be Mr. Mr. Dersham's
Yeah,
house.
yeah, the Mountain Stone.
Yeah,
Yes,
the Mountain
yes.
Stone house. Between the Mountain Stone house, there's a split rail fence along there. I don't know, no reason you would recall that, but maybe you're familiar with it. It stops at some pine trees, that split rail fence. And then there's a double wide trailer that's Jeff Booker's. Right there, not far off from, I think it's Sawmill, comes down, curves out onto Schoolhouse. This goes back 10 years. I was up at the meeting on numerous occasions, spoke to your father. We have a deluge of water, runs across Schoolhouse Road, comes down, wipes out the driveway that goes up around to the back of the stone house. It's gone on for many, many years. I wasn't able to get here in time to go access it, and I don't know how I'd show it to you anyway, but we do have it. There's 2 manhole covers right below there. One right in between the old hotel, which is shuttered now. Well, there's storage units in there, but it's, but there's no water or anything in there. And Jeff Booker's double wide is the first one. Water just pours across the top of that thing. Now we've tried to, it also runs the entire way down to the road where the storm drain is on 15. Washes out the road. I go up there and grade it and do the best I can several times a year. We built in front of the new system that has a riser on it it probably only stands proud of the ground a foot maybe. And we took some millings that we had down there and built a dam around that because it was running over the top of that too. The one up top, it just washes it out. I need that to get addressed to the point that some years ago, I think Ms. Novinger was on the board way back then. I said, I'll go up there and clean it out with my machine if need be. I think it just needs the back of, the trees fall down, whatever. But it runs across the road. There is a drainage there that goes under the road because the run is on our property. To this day, it still runs directly across the road and down across there. I believe that is at the minimum part of the problem because your engineer has stated, and infiltration would follow this also, I understand that. When it rains.
Are these manholes in the driveway?
One of them is directly next to the driveway. The driveway comes down from the back of the stone house and the manhole sits right here.
So there'd be no way for you to elevate that manhole riser and get it above grade?
Maybe a little, but I couldn't elevate it much or I'd have to notch the driveway at least. And it's not a roadway, it's a driveway. It's not terribly wide to begin with.
Yes.
And the building, now we're gonna, depending on how everything goes, probably be applying for a permit to take that old motel building down.
Okay.
There's just no value.
But these manholes, is there any way for you to, what kind of manholes are they? Are they precast concrete, or they
Yes.
brick, or?
They're concrete that sits on top of brick, that mortared.
So they're homemade?
No, if you take the manhole lid, the, whatever the hell you call it,
Yep.
take that off, and you go down in it, it's concrete down to a certain depth, and then where the sewer lines come in, there's brick, it would appear to me, and I don't know if it's external brick or internal, and it's parged or whatever you might want to say with concrete, which goes into these, I'm assuming are concrete. They're not terracotta, I mean, but they're not plastic either,
Right.
sewer type pipe. That one up by Mr. Booker's house, we have built dams, I mean, call them whatever you want, around that as best we could on many occasions over the years. And they just wash out because it's just stone.
Okay, so we understand that there's some issues both ways there. What is the intentions to reduce these EDUs?
Well, there's a
Or are you willing to pay for the
Well,
upgrade? Which I don't think you want
I
to.
prefer not, I should say I empathize with the Fouts, although mine's on a much lower, I have the same problem. I just redid leases for primarily a bunch of bums that don't pay their rent half the time anyway, you know, and I don't get paid, I try to pay you.
Yep.
You know, you see these big payments come in, I don't have the money, I get the money.
We're all in the
I
same
pay-
boat, I understand that.
Now, once I got some communication from Mr. Chateau, another problem we've been having down there that I have no explanation for, your engineers are aware of, every now and then the reporting system, I don't even know how it works. I mean, I understand that it just stops reporting.
It might be a power change, Serge, I don't know.
Yeah, I have
mean,
no
would
idea.
that cause
But he calls me and I send somebody down, we reset the system, it comes right back up. I went back and because we monitor our water out of the well, we have a meter on our well. Our well, the water out has been going up. So obviously, not unlike everybody else, I don't want to have to pay any more money than I need to because I'm not recouping it. I can't get this from my tenants. Dawned on me, this is an old property. We started looking around, we have full flush, I don't know how many gallon toilets. We have leaky toilets. We have this, that, and the other thing. So what I'm in the process of doing right now is threefold. Least expensive first, obviously, that's just human nature. I've got people down there going around into each unit, making sure the valving in the toilets are proper. If they're of such and such an age where they're, and I think there's like 3 gallons or something.
There's 3 gallons and 1.5, 1.6
Okay, well,
gallon flushes.
if it justifies it, we're replacing commodes down there. We're trying to put water saver things in the showers. Whether the people are gonna take them out or not, I don't have any idea. I also have discovered that I have more people living there than are supposed to be. Now it's gonna be a court situation. I mean, they're bringing in other people that shouldn't be there. Obviously, they're using more water, more sewer. I don't know exactly what to do about this manhole thing without disturbing the access up to the stone house. That being said, I think at least part of it needs to be addressed on the supervisor side. Can we get the drainage on Schoolhouse Road so the water, I mean, it literally comes across Schoolhouse Road like a river when it rains, comes down off that hill and it just keeps on right out to 15. And if anybody'd like, you're welcome. We get a hard rain, you drive up there and look, you'll see it. just like a river, comes a whole way down past the old plant where the new pump is now and goes into the storm drain right on 15. And it leaves quite a aftermath. We go in there with the skid loader after it rains and smooth it all back out.
Question I have for you, is the existing pump creating, or is there any I going into it due to its elevation in that area?
There was. Now we built, now of course that's relatively flat down there. Where the manhole is up by Mr. Bucher's house, it's on a grade. We took a bunch of millings, Penn Twp was working out there and they were good enough, they gave us some millings to fix the driveway and put a dam, for lack of a better term, around that. I don't think, I mean, that I've seen anyway, we do have video of one, it was covered with water. Now we built it up around there and it seems to divert it around out to the storm drain on 15. That being said though, it shouldn't be there because it's all coming across Schoolhouse Road. And I think it's an easy problem to solve. It just needs, there's drains up there and there's swales when you come, I don't know who else.
That's more of an issue somewhere else. We are interested in what are you gonna do to get this thing down to a point that we can come in agreement.
Well, I think what I'd like to do is do what I've just said first. It's gonna be monitored, I know that. Get with the supervisors and see if that drainage is at least part of it, and find out if the numbers come down when I change the toilet stuff and all that.
Time is of an essence.
Well, this is in process. I mean, I can't affect what anybody's gonna do on Schoolhouse Road. I imagine if I go up there and do something, I'm probably gonna be in trouble also. But that was a problem back when we had the plant. That's been a problem going way back.
Let me tell you this then. I would encourage you to get a hold of them, talk to the township office. Maybe they can get this expedited for you. Our problem is we want this resolved.
Oh, I understand.
Okay? I don't want to be going to the point where we have to go through the legal side with Dennis.
I don't want to have to go through the legal side either.
We've been doing everything I can to avoid this, but
if this continues and it becomes that this is an I problem, then it is, and I'll probably have to just shutter the whole damn place, because I've already gone this close to bankruptcy, just putting that pump system in and paying the engineers and everything else. And I don't say that looking for sympathy. It is what it is. But this has cost me and my family huge. I mean, I've had to sell my home. I've had to do all kinds of things here to fund this project. And I don't want to be the one that doesn't pay the sewer bill or whatever. Unfortunately though, my sewer bills and all these things, fixing the problems, all depends on people paying their rent. And when they don't pay, they don't pay.
We have the same problem. I understand.
I have no trouble believing that, because the people I rent to, if they owned their own home, they wouldn't be paying.
So what I'm asking is what can we do to make this get done in a timely manner?
Well, what I've just discussed is already in process, with the exception of talking to the supervisors. I sent Mr. Shadow an email to that effect from the plumbing side.
Because we're gonna put my opinion is we need a drop dead date, because we've spent better part of 6 months trying to evaluate this, so we had something comfortable that we knew we were being honest with you on, and learning the system to figure it out, and with the hiccups and everything, I think we were clean back in August one, if I'm not mistaken, okay? So we've been diligently and patiently monitoring this before we've confronted you with this issue.
Well, you're not, and you didn't confront me with it. I'm monitoring it also.
Okay.
I'm trying to watch what's the difference between what's coming out of the well and going into the system. Now, what I've learned, same thing. Didn't know about this system. I'm monitoring it the same way whoever's monitoring it for you is. I get the same reports.
Yes.
And okay, it's pouring down rain. Spike. Well, that could be explained by infiltration. It could be explained by it running in the top of the manhole. My honest guess is it probably is a combination. I don't.
Is there an O-ring on your manhole?
I have no idea.
They
I
do
wouldn't
make,
know
they
if
do,
they're
there is
supposed to be an
O-rings that help seal them up. I'm not saying they're the best thing since sliced bread, but when they're cleaned up and they're installed, it may help you, okay? That's
Well,
a
I'll certainly
suggestion.
check. I didn't even know an O-ring on the manhole cover
Am I
was an
correct,
option.
Jody? Unless it's an older version, you may not have one, but yes, there's ways that you can, and there's.
I mean, if I pulled the manhole cover up and there was no ring, would I know it?
Yeah, when you flip the lid up, it
You'll
would be
see
right
black
in
O-ring.
underneath.
Okay, well then there's not one. I know
Okay.
that, cause I've pulled it, I've taken it off 25 times.
If it's if it's from the time when the gentleman built it originally, I can pretty much guarantee that when Red put that in there was no O-rings in them. I guarantee you that, okay?
Well, if I'd have seen it, I mean, that's a big O-ring. It's not there, cause
I don't know what else they make out there, but I'm pretty sure there's probably other options that you could put in there
Now,
that
we
was
did buy
underneath
a
that manhole to help seal it.
We did put an O-ring, a seal kit on the new,
Correct.
The
on
new
On
system.
the lid. It should be. I was hoping
because
that
there
was
wasn't one at the beginning.
Okay.
When that water ran in there, it filled it up and stopped, it shut the whole system down. There was supposed to be one, I found out, but in my $50-some thousand of cost, I didn't get that O-ring.
On your research, take a look and see what other things are out there to help buy you sealers for the manhole lids. I'm sure there's stuff that's upgrade the older system that you can buy. He might even be able to tell you certain places to get them. Okay?
What's that?
I can tell you.
Well, then, do you have a card?
I mean, there's information out there.
I
know
would like-
it's probably because you don't know it, but there is stuff out there to help seal them lids that if the water runs over it, it should reduce it greatly for a very minimum cost. Am I
The only
correct?
thing you can do is where the wrench goes in to pull the lid out, you can. There's not much you can do about that.
Well, it gotta be, I gotta, well, like I said, if the water wasn't pouring over the top of it, I'll seal it. I can't seal it. If it wasn't running over the top, it might, at the minimum, would much lessen the problem.
Yes, just to reduce the problem, get the I&I, get the numbers down, get this thing down to a point, okay? If we see 5 EDUs change on this, and it's 15 instead of 20, we know you're trying to do your job. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I guess
Before we
what
start pursuing more, we want to see a good result come out of this before we pursue this.
I guess I would say, given what he's just told me, I would think there'd be a change within the month. Because I'm replacing toilets, I'm trying to do all the interior things I can do. And unfortunately, we've had a damn suicide up there, we've had all kinds of trouble this last month that has delayed things.
I understand that's more than what
But,
we need to do,
yeah,
and I
well,
apologize for that.
But, you know, we have to give tenants notice and set up appointments and whatnot, and I'm sure anybody that's ever had tenants realizes these people don't care. I've also found out one place wasn't heated in that big cold snap we had. They let the water run so the pipes wouldn't freeze. So I gotta figure out some way to, I don't know how to stop that. I gotta just check them more often, make sure the damn thing's heated.
We have those issues too, trust me. We know when the water heat turns around.
Mike, are you going, get on the agenda for the supervisors meeting this month to present this problem?
Myself or a representative. I live 100 miles from here now, currently.
It might be better off for him to communicate with them right now
It
to the
would.
office.
It would, and given what they had, even the night that Mr. Chubb had the meeting,
Yes.
just.
There's stuff
new
coming, I do
roadmaster.
know, and Cece can go into more detail if you wish.
Well, and even what he had said that night in all of his presentation, he's very open, the new roadmaster, Ken Chubb, is very open to any of the citizens that if you have a problem, you call me. He said, I put my phone number out there. I don't have his phone number with me. Call Helen
I'll call Helen.
and get it from her and
I
call
really
him
think
directly.
if somebody just go, from what I've seen, I was up there and looked at it between the holidays. I think the whole drainage thing could probably be handled in an hour. The trouble is, I think it's gonna repeat itself over and over again because of all
It's a
the.
high maintenance area, is
Right.
what you're trying to say, and I understand that. And then probably sometimes over the years, it's been cleaned out and it goes away, and then it comes back after a while.
That could well be.
And he's talking about cutting roads back and changing things, so this summer, some of that could automatically happen, whether you can talk to him, and maybe it'll happen sooner.
And don't forget, he's at the bottom of the hill, just like I am.
Yeah.
everything runs downhill.
Yeah, you're familiar with those issues, but yes, you call the
Take one of your
township, talk
pens.
to them, they should hook you up with,
Cece,
Ken?
give me a piece of your paper. I rushed down here, I'm unprepared. What's his name again?
Ken Chubb.
Ken Chubb.
Yeah, and Helen can give you his number. I know I don't have it with me.
it's better for them to get it that way.
Yeah,
It's
3
not to be
notebooks and I don't
offensive,
have it.
don't-
I don't have anyone speed dial.
Well, like I said, I'm in the process of doing the interior things before this meeting ever took place. I thought about coming to the last supervisor meeting, and quite honestly, I made a decision not to with the police thing and everybody thing.
I understand, so.
This whole thing will get lost in that meeting.
What I'm discussing about here, we want a timeline. What can you do for us to guarantee something so we don't have to worry about bothering you till you get this done? But I don't want 6 months.
No.
I need time frame.
I think I'd like to be in contact with your engineer, which I am, and we'll review at the end of this month and see where it is. And it,
So in other words, we should have a report for our next meeting.
well, you should have some sort of report. Whether the problem's solved, I couldn't say. I got to talk to this guy, and I'll see what's going on with my stuff. I would say worst case 60 days. We would know a lot more than we know today.
Okay. I'm gonna make a recommendation here on my behalf. The board can say yes or no to it. We get good reports back from you, where your status is, what you've been doing. We need to know that you are trying to do this, okay? We wanna see a result at the end of 30 days, okay? See where we're sitting. And then for the next meeting, which would be 60 days, if we're not happy, we need to resolve the rest of the issues. I would like to see this go reduced down. I would like to see it go away.
Well,
I really don't believe that's gonna happen,
I don't believe it's going to totally go away.
okay?
I'm hopeful it will, but
Then we need to, then, when we're comfortable, say you eliminate 5 EDUs, we still got an issue with 5 EDUs. Okay? Now we gotta talk. Okay? If it was 1 or 2 EDUs, we could probably say, okay, we're misjudging on the calibration or something like that. Blah, 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 depends on how close we can prove this, okay? The engineer's gotta get fine tuned. But that's where we wanna be. We can't have this double what we're involved with in you. It's just not
I
acceptable.
also don't understand who determines the gallonage of an EDU. Where does that come from?
If you go by what I think federal is, it's higher than what we have.
It is.
Okay?
That's what I wondered, because from the numbers I had, I was still over, but I wasn't as much over as.
Okay. We've done through our research and our operations and the way we charge for our treatment, we've evaluated it 125 gallon?
150.
150.
150? Okay. Okay, it's 150. Okay.
Because quite honestly,
reason
I don't
being is-
understand why an EDU is 150 here and it's 300 there.
Okay, the reason I'm saying that is low flush toilets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, has been into place. Our usages have been going down on our flowed monitored areas. We have monitored areas within our township, and we worked that through, okay? And that number's still high for most of them. We have recordings where the averages are 120, 125 on the chart recorders that we have, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct?
No, it's
Okay?
even lower.
And even lower, okay? Now, some of these places are families, okay? And I'm sure they got the low flush toilets. Susquehanna School, they went through and put the low flush economizers and energy package kit into place, changed it dramatically,
Well, and that's part of what
okay?
I'm doing right now,
So what you're doing is right. I'm not saying that. It's just that we need to get it resolved, get it corrected, and move on, okay?
And I agree, I don't want to pay another 10
I don't
EDUs.
want this to go on for 6 months, is what I'm getting at, okay? I'd like to see us get this straightened out, and we have a good relationship with you without having to call you into our meetings. This is not the stuff I like to deal with, trust me, it's not.
I don't want to deal with it either. I shouldn't have been in this position to begin with. Everybody knows my opinion on it. You know, I had a perfectly functional system up there, and I was forced to do something at enormous expense. And and I'm trying to get through it like everybody else is trying to get through it.
And we've expressed our concerns about the I&I on this system too, so let's see what we can do. That was my suggestion. What is the rest of the board's
I don't have a
opinion?
problem with
You don't have a
Fine by
problem
me.
with that?
Fine by me.
I'm asking you to operate in good faith with us, 30 days, work with the engineer, get a report on it, okay? And the next meeting, which will be 60 days,
That'll
We-
be March, right?
that
Yeah.
should be March. By March, we should know where we're at with you and what you decide you have to do to make this right. Whether you gotta buy in more, or you're gonna eliminate it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay?
Okay.
Please do that, I mean,
Did you say you had?
do you agree with that, Dennis?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I'm trying,
And I have.
I had one question for Mr. Ward, though. You know how much water is coming out of the well?
Yes.
You have a meter for that?
Yeah.
And does that serve all the units that are on the property?
Yes.
Okay.
Is-
Have you had anybody, I mean, is it a realistic amount of gallons? Obviously, you must think it's somewhat higher, you wouldn't be looking at the toilet
Well, I've got it.
economies, but, I mean, could there be leaks somewhere in your water?
Transmission lines.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
what size of water meter is this?
What size water?
What size is your water meter?
You mean what size line?
Yeah,
I think it's 1 inch.
1 inch supplies that, okay?
It's at least 3/4, but I think it's 1 inch.
For the whole complex,
Right.
okay? Generally, what we end up doing is now it's your own water system, and that's another issue, but we have our water meters, that's how some places monitor water meters to match your flow rates
Well,
too.
that's what I've been doing.
Okay.
And as you can well understand, until I put this new system in, when I had my own plant up there, I didn't really care how much water was going into it,
Right.
other than from a chemical standpoint,
Right.
how I had to treat it. But when this started, and I have to monitor the gallon usage anyway for DEP, for
Okay.
other reasons. And
I
there-
guess what I'm asking is, though, is that a
No,
realistic?
it's
for the
actually
10
fairly,
units?
it's fairly close, except on the days when it rains.
Can you give us a report on the water meter?
Yeah, we monitor the water meter
Okay.
daily.
Well,
What is your average daily? What would you say on that?
Well,
On your meter readings?
during the weekdays, I'd have to do matter of fact, I should be getting the report soon for the end of the year, but during weekdays, it runs 2,400 to 2,800 gallons a day. Okay? On weekends, it spikes every weekend, and I'm only assuming washing clothes, people visit, whatever. Now, over the holidays, it spiked dramatically, but I know there were people there also know they pressure washed the garage over the weekend, so that might be 1,000, I don't know how much water that is. But the reason that I am not convinced that it's totally an I&I problem is because our waters out of the well compared to the reading on the system are not that far apart,
correct.
unless there's a big rain. Now, I get it, infiltration, it rains, it gets down to ground, okay.
Can you supply our engineer with your water report?
Yeah.
See, he gets that, okay?
It might be helpful.
It might be
him to
helpful
put
for
his
us
eyes
for
on
the
it.
next 2 months. I'm not asking it forever, I'm just asking for the next 2-3 months here, so we see this, work this out a little bit. It gives us a different feeling on this too, okay?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, okay, I ain't figured it off the top of my head though, CC,
What's that?
whether that's within this 10 EDUs, which is,
Not if it's 150
Yeah.
gallons an EDU,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, there you go. That'd be 1,500 gallons.
and
Well,
that's pretty much what.
I don't think I'm ever gonna get the tenants down there to use 1,500 gallons a day between all of them.
But Susan, what's our average, I mean, does anybody know what our average water customer uses?
Average water customer up on the hill uses probably between 6,000 and 8,000 a month.
That's way above 150 a day. So where's
I mean,
all-
a quarter, excuse me, we read a quarterly.
Oh, quarter.
Quarterly. 8,000, I think, is about it for most of them. That's your average.
I mean, if our experience number for the water system the authority has is a lot lower than your experience, then something's not right, and it may.
Yeah, I get that.
It may be the toilets, but it may be something else too, I don't know, I mean.
Well, we check because we have to inject chlorine and stuff into it, so we have to keep it all monitored.
One day.
All right, well, I don't wanna.
I mean, like, I just asked before I came to the meeting, over the weekend, we had a spike of 4,300 gallons out of the well. Now Jeff said there was cars parked all over the place and who knows how many people were visiting. I said, that's still too much.
Yeah,
So
I
he
mean-
went and checked and he said, well, they power washed the garage. Well, okay, that could explain the rest of it. In the summertime, for example, it spikes, but people were washing cars and that sort
We're
of
looking
stuff.
for an average,
Yeah.
is what we work off of, an average. You need to balance out for the spikes. Okay, so that's my suggestion. Is the rest of the board on board with,
Yep.
okay? You got 30 days, get good reports back to us on 30 days. If we don't hear something, the 60 days is void. We need communication from you, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay? The more, the better, the less trouble we'll give you, I promise you, because as long as we know you're doing a diligent job, it's pretty tough to argue with someone. So
Okay.
just work with us on this, okay?
I got a long drive, if
Thank
you
you.
don't mind.
Okay, I'm gonna be the elephant in the room here. I have one other thing.
Doesn't involve me, right?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it does. All right, we're talking about sending information for the water meter to Randy, have him do more work.
Yeah, I know.
We
where
need
you're
at
going
least
with this. I forgot about that.
$6,169.49
Yeah,
because,
I don't understand why I'm paying your engineer to watch this stuff. Oh,
Well,
and
I'm
let me back up one, since we've brought this up. I don't feel any obligation to pay another dollar for engineering until I get an accounting of every dollar that was spent.
Hang on here. Has he been charging him for all these monitoring?
Mhm.
Okay?
Well, let's put it this way, on his bill,
And you've been putting it against him?
and then just a week or so, or well, last month, I guess, whenever you saw the last packet, I sent down all the invoices to you.
Okay?
I have not received but two since the beginning of this project, tens of thousands of dollars. I've received two communications about what it was for,
Okay.
and they didn't add up to the whole thing.
What I'm trying to say is, the project was done, and upon the completion of the project, there was a delinquency. It wasn't a lot, but there
I
was.
paid that.
You paid that,
Yep.
okay. Now we've got more since then, okay? I'm not saying he's right, I'm not saying he's wrong. Same atmosphere, we are asking them to monitor him, and maybe we need to change our structure.
okay, and I didn't say a word about who he owes this to. I'm strictly talking, before I was interrupted, I was talking about the escrow account, which is supposed to be at $2,500. And is now negative $3,669.49.
Well, that's what I'm saying, where are you putting this money to? Towards that escrow account? Or is it billed out separately?
Whenever the engineer charges, or when Dennis charges, or when the engineer charges, and it's on the sheet, then that amount I put to account number 304, which is the escrow account that gets
Mr.
deducted.
Okay,
Did I or did I not request from you months or weeks ago that I have not received an
So
accounting
everything
for all
that's
this
going
money?
on-
See, that doesn't make sense. I just mailed out another great big one.
Well, I mean, if you mailed it in the last few days,
No.
my mail's being forwarded, but I haven't gotten one.
Okay, yeah, because
And that being said,
I'll make copies of
You're
them.
entitled to an accounting of what the money's spent for, and we can get you that.
Oh, yeah. It was sent last, there was one within the past
for,
month.
for the understanding, when this project was completed, the new system was online. We paid that account in full to the bill that I was given. Anything beyond that, I don't really understand, and I've got no accounting for it. Now, that being said, I understand I'm behind on the sewer bill, I understand I'm behind on some things, but that part of it, I don't get, and I've not received an accounting of it from the beginning.
okay.
Susan,
Twice.
if you have those
we can
copies,
fix
could
that.
you please make copies and send those again to him, please? Thank you, because I'm sure
And
there'll
I'll be happy
details.
to
that on
come
here.
pick them up if necessary, whatever. I did get two. I got one about 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, in that neighborhood.
Make a copy for the board.
Well, you get them in the purple folder before, you know.
Okay.
Now, I don't think there's one there here. I think it was last month. But I have them down in my office.
And once the project was done, I already thought it was a huge amount of money, but I'm not asking the engineer to monitor it. Not that it doesn't need monitored, but I don't know that I'm liable to pay for it.
We'll discuss that.
Let's move on.
Let's move
Move
on.
on.
We'll discuss
Very
that at a
well.
later date. Let's get this situation here addressed, okay, Mike?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And although it may not sound like it, I'm glad Ms. Novinger brought it up because I meant to ask for those anyway, so
Okay.
thank you.
All right, anything else for the engineer? Operators report.
All right, how,
Oh, boy.
And the operator's report is before you.
What's the skinny one? I love it.
It is rather brief.
Oh boy, Jim.
We tried to keep things to the basic, their basics here. With the exception of until 5 o'clock on January 31st, everything was going rather well.
December 31st.
So, or December 31st, so we decided to, the work associated with the break that Jody was on and the work done to, that is currently underway to monitor the disinfection of the water system will show up in next month's report, because that's ongoing right now. And it may be until Sunday or Monday till that gets rectified. Basically, at the Cove plant, we did some scheduled maintenance, replaced belts on blowers. At the Kincora plant, we got the wiring installed between the flow meter, sensory wire between the flow meter and the newly installed composite sampler. And in fact, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I'll be meeting TriStar there for connection of that flow meter and sampler. It would be operable. Pump station number 1, we did have a call out on or about the 20th of December, and I believe Lou was on that, and I think
Pump station number 1.
yeah, where is,
Lower Duncan.
thank you, because I didn't know how to charge that on the bill, so I'll go back and
The
review
main,
it.
the main pumping station.
The main.
Okay.
No, it has a third name. The main, Lower Duncan, and the
The one right there,
right at the Ford
Final
dealership.
West, in the park.
car dealership, right, okay.
It looks different at 2 o'clock in the morning. I can
So,
attest to that.
Doesn't smell any different.
Jody,
Well, at least you had low flow usage.
Jody's crew assisted us in the removal of those pumps. They cleaned them out and put them back in service, so that's up and running.
We've got a couple t-shirts if anybody wants them.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Well, we can't
Outstanding
tell where they
items.
would come from, though.
Jody was in contact with us earlier today. What, with tomorrow or Friday, you'll be
No, tomorrow.
hooking that redundant alarm float up at the Cove pumping station, redundant high water alarm float. And we are still working on getting all the elements for the budget pricing for the telemetry at the Cove treatment plant to enunciate alarm situations. And those are the things that we had for you this evening. Wow. Do you have any questions? I'm trying to keep it short.
Lou, keep in touch with me. I want you to be kept abreast of when I figure I can do that thing up there. I don't work, this work schedule, I don't know where it's at. I mean, it's all over the place right now, so I'm hoping to come that here in another week. Hopefully I can get up there and get that corrected on Saturday.
This Saturday?
No, no.
You gonna have Jody go too? Just in case?
We'll notify him. I don't think he needs to come up. We're trying to do this on the low-cost side, you know, unless he wants to come up for free.
Are you expensive? Oh.
He's here tonight for free.
Yeah. He's the guy who generates his big bills.
Yeah, he's the Gotta show us how
Well,
you do this.
those things are water repairs. I've been in them. I've been in the emergency repair stuff. There's nothing good about it.
I wanna say this,
It's hard-earned money, I can tell you.
I wanna say this, Lou was up there getting soaked with the rest of us, and that was, appreciated his assistance also.
And it always seems to happen in the worst times.
Yes.
It never happens when it's sunny and the birds are chirping and you got the beautiful weather and
As
stuff
foolish
like
as
that.
I was, mine was voluntary, though, so I just felt bad.
Yeah, but you were there.
All right, thanks everybody for making that happen. Lou, appreciate, glad things ain't too bad on your report. Okay, let's go with the DMRs and the master meter report and the correspondence. Let's go with the field representative. You're up. Your moment in the limelight.
Yeah. The emails went out about, I keep sending emails out, but you guys don't all get them.
I think I'm the only one that got that last one you talked to me about
Okay.
today, okay?
We were asked to meet with Stevenson Generator Service to go over the generator service. Just make sure it was getting done, yada, yada, yada. All the block heaters for the portable generators at the stations were out. They're extension cords plugged into a receptacle, running across the ground, and plugged into the block heater. All four were inactive. If those generators would have tried to start, you guys would have probably been buying generators. They don't run well without block heaters. So the email I sent out is, we really need to, I told the generator service, they had extension cords. They were ready to replace all the extension cords, and I told them no. Because we can't let,
Could we interject a point here? You know, we recently signed a contract with you guys that covers the service on the pumping stations and the generators. We were not a party to this.
Okay, interesting, and I agree with that.
But I had a conversation with Tom Stevenson in advance of that, and I guess somebody from his office contacted the township, and I guess that somebody contacted Jody.
I
and
think we're having a communication
Yeah, I
issue.
didn't know anything about it,
Okay.
because I had already talked to him about those very things, and I think we just need
All
to
right, I
decide
can
who's gonna handle them.
I did not know that, I know they did the pump station, I don't know that I knew that that was part of the generator,
Yeah,
but
the
I remember
generators
when
are
the
part
call
of the pump.
came in.
We've been starting them, looking at them, and I've been
Okay.
having conversations, unbilled conversations with Tom, because I've known him for years.
All right.
And tried to work
All
some
right,
things
so I know where we're at here now. You're in charge of this, okay?
All right.
out.
I know what his concern is, and I agree with it.
Right.
What are we doing about the concern he just brought up?
Well,
This is our first view of it.
yeah, this is
Okay.
first we heard that part, but we were running them. But I have to put it this way, Tom told me, and it may sound cruel, and with budget problems you have, he's told me in the past that there's lots of issues with them, but no one wanted to spend money on them.
Here's the problem I got, the one that upsets me the most, the big generator at Cove Plant, from brand new. When we installed that, as new as that is, I'm surprised it ain't wired direct.
Wired direct.
actually, I think that one is.
You're talking about automatic transfer switches?
No, the block
we're
heaters
talking
are
about the
plugged
block
in.
Oh, the block heater, oh, okay, well,
My-
that one is, yes.
Yeah,
When you
my
said
guy
none of them,
actually
that one
reported
does
me
work.
wrong on that one.
Yeah, that one does
That
work.
one is hardwired.
All the other ones are portable units.
And they are not,
Correct.
they're just
Right.
extension
Yeah,
cords.
you gotta go out, start them, and
You gotta-
there's the issues, there's lots of issues, there's leaks with cooling lines, and there's that problem, there's a problem with the power cords themselves that plug in for the manual transfer switches that are all cracked and wide open, which you may have seen.
They should be
You
able
know,
to do it as well.
There's,
Are you gonna be able to give us a report and a status and make this come together?
I will if that's what you wish. That was our intentions. I wanted to get what Tom told me. He told me that the annual service was due, and I said, well, let's talk. And then something happened and it kinda got out of our control and went,
Because Sam always took care of it.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
we got this controlled. You got it, you don't, not to be offensive.
I mean,
I appreciate you starting this, because now we got resolved it, okay? Give us a report on it.
So, can you
block-
tell me if Tom did the service, like the oil changes, filters and things? I don't know.
That was all done.
Okay, so
We had a guy,
okay.
we
I will
verified
call
it, it
Tom
was done.
Stevenson's and see where he's at. And see when I worked with Tom in the past, and Jim, we have them look at the unit, they give us their recommendation. If there's simple things, we could do cheaper, but, we're gonna go with the most important, like we do with the list, the
And I think
priorities.
this is our fault because we didn't talk to Judy in regards to it when we made the agreement here, 2 months ago?
Yes.
3 months ago? This is where the hiccup was at, so.
Okay, to make it short, we will take care of it.
Thank you.
We will inform
Okay.
If you need anything from me, call me.
Okay.
So
You
you're
guys
saying all
communicate. I don't have
the
an
block
issue with
heaters were all
communication.
bad?
The block
Well,
heaters are fine, it's the extension
supply.
cord that powers the block.
But they're all manual start ones anyhow.
Yes,
all right.
they are.
Yes, and I can't wire them in solid. And the reason I don't want them wired in solid is they have the ability to be moved from one point to the other if we have a malfunction. In fact, plus we have an extra one on stock in the township building that we can run for the water plant.
I guess the biggest difficulty is you've got basic outside power cords that you use for a drill running across the ground exposed to the sunlight 365 days a year.
Christmas tree cord,
Right,
going out there
it's-
trying to keep it charged, and
it's
I
really
understand that,
put it in.
and I understand that, and I didn't realize that was going on, so.
But you still can run those and make them, you can put small cords that are
Correct.
UV
You
protected.
can put weatherproof
We'll-
connections
we'll
on them,
look at
or weather
UV
resistant.
protected.
Well, they're
Yes.
even in enclosures. I mean, we could run conduit over and drop a cord down.
We'll
that's
look at all the
protected.
things and
Thank
we'll
you.
prioritize that list and get it to you.
Because we turned around, put sheds over top of them just to protect them, because of the impact of weather being directly on them was a lot harder on them. So we've done that over the years. We spent that money 5 years
The
ago.
worst thing on a generator is to sit there and not be used.
Yes.
Is the
All
worst.
right,
We'll take
back to
care of
you.
All right, I got a note in the mail the other day, and I'm not what it's for. Somebody that put a trailer on Jefferson Street sent me a title.
What?
I didn't have a chance to stop at the office before I came down here, but it was addressed from Perry County Homes to IJ Tech Mechanical Services, that I was the inspecting officer of this trailer getting set at Jefferson Street. And it's another thing, like I said, when I didn't hear from Karen or Susan or anybody, all of a sudden I have Generac calling me saying, hey, we were coming down, we want to schedule an appointment with you to verify the generator service. So I will get that to you.
Nope. You're gonna give that to Helen.
Yes, that goes to township.
That's not a thing, there's nothing I do with it.
Yeah, but what concerns me is it has IJ Tech Mechanical Services as the inspecting officer on that.
And you need to call Perry County Homes.
And I didn't even know anything about it, because I was like, what's this? I didn't know I was an inspector for trailers.
Yeah.
No, because it's not, we do not own the sewer main, so. Okay,
I'll make a
we're not
copy.
the sewer inspector because they're connecting it. I know where they're going with this.
Just to play.
This is a building inspection code,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay? This
Oh.
is the UCC thing,
Yeah.
okay?
Just BUI.
I am gonna make a copy, Susan, and scan it and email it to you, just so you have it for your
Okay.
record. But I'll also call,
Yeah, did you say it was a deed? No.
no,
No.
it's an inspection.
Okay,
It's an inspection log, I think you're supposed to go to UCC
okay.
because of the permit, okay?
Yeah.
How they got his name, I do not know, other than they probably looked up something. Do we have anything on the internet website or anything with him on that?
They sold his truck.
Yeah, they sold us
Okay,
God.
I mean,
more business for you.
okay, so I'm pretty sure that's the issue.
Okay, no,
Okay,
I'm just asking
it's-
what you want me to do with it. I mean,
Yes, it probably goes to the township.
okay, I'll
Okay.
call them in the morning.
You might be able to scan it up to them and say, hey, listen, here it is, whatever. Next time you get up, drop it off, you know what I'm saying? Give them an update with it. Because I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with us.
Okay.
How you got involved in that, you know, me. What's next?
Other than that, just with guys like Mr. Hirsch, what do you want me to do? I've got to have something or some way of. I felt bad that guy called up Karen today and started screaming at her. I mean, he was doing the same thing to us. I mean, he called me every name under the sun but a human being. I understand why the guy's pissed off. I mean, I'd be pissed off if I didn't have water for 3 days too. But it's not my fault. It's not my guys on the site's fault. It's not.
And it's past the curb valve.
Well,
Yeah,
we
so
don't
that's-
know.
Yeah.
That- But see, that's
what
the
Jeremy
gray
told
area.
us. What Jeremy was there when he called. Jeremy said he pulled the water meter and there was water, there was no water coming into the house.
Correct.
And so that's when we made the decision that there's obviously a blockage between the curb valve and the house. And we told Mr. Kelch, sorry, that's your responsibility.
Well, that's a fact. I
But
mean,
he
that's
did
the
not
way it
want to
is.
hear
But-
that,
But
and
now wait, the township is, the municipal authority is still responsible from the main to the curb box.
Right,
Right.
right.
So we don't know. We know
Oh,
there's.
you don't know
prob-
which is,
This is what I'm saying. You've got a 3-foot gray area.
yeah.
If that guy digs that line up and he replaces it all the way into the house and he turns the curb back on and he has no water, I'm telling you, somebody's gonna, some homeowner's gonna be suing somebody.
I've seen that happen already.
I've seen it happen a lot.
Well,
It happened right up here at Eisenhower in
And
the
then
first
you know,
one when you
then
guys
that-
hired me.
And then you know what happens? Then they come in, dig it up and replace it from the curb valve in.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the same in any place we
I mean,
have,
I-
it's the same thing.
I
I mean,
was on-
no matter where you go, where you have a
It
line.
is. Most of the time though, you don't have an issue from the main to the curb. And I
Curb.
understand that. But the first project for you guys that I got involved in, you did have a problem. The block at that point in time was from the curb valve to the main. I ran an auger through that line and got drenched because we didn't shut the water off
Yeah.
to do that.
Well, the only other way we can do this, turn around and say, okay, we'll make sure our side's open, but if it's clogged on the other side, you pick the bill up.
But what I'm saying is, that would keep people from calling Karen. If I tell them that, say, look, okay, the township's authorized me to dig this up. If I dig this up, and the problem's from the curb to your house, the township's gonna send you the bill for $2,000 or $1,500 or whatever it is.
Mhm. Well, if they know that up front, what are you gonna do? I mean, that's,
Right.
you know, I mean,
I mean, that's the simplest way to do that, because then
Yeah.
you're gonna turn around and cut their line.
Right. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if we had something adopted, it's gonna keep the people from calling Karen. Listen, I'm like a duck.
Yep.
That guy could call me, I don't really care. All right,
You're
it
used
doesn't
to it.
bother me anymore. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. I feel bad when the guy calls Karen and starts swearing at her and screaming at her. Again, I
that-
understand his frustration. I know what my girl in the office
Would you
would
make
do.
any
She'd just
changes
slam the
like
phone.
this?
well, maybe you gotta tell her to do the same.
Well,
But
she was
all I'm
ready.
saying is, if you
Yes.
guys want to adopt it and say, all right, here's what it is. The township has authorized me to go to $1,500. Sorry, municipal authority is issued $1,500 still go for me to dig this up. But if if I replace this and I clean it all up and everything's, and you still don't have any water, they're sending you that $1,500 bill. That gives me something to tell them that's going to keep them from calling Karen and screaming and hollering and yelling at her. Because, I mean, this is going to get worse and worse and worse. Because I'm going to tell you, this guy right here, what he did today ain't going to fix nothing. He's going to have the same problem because that line's not going to just unsettle itself. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And the other problem is all these people think when this, you get the new tanks, you get the new well, okay, great, we're going to pump the water pressure up to 60 PSI. You know what's going to happen? I guarantee you that shit we pulled out of that line, those 5 different couplings and all that bull crap, you're going to blow half that system apart. I guarantee it. Along with the 60-year-old pieces of copper pipe that come in there.
Oh, there's not doubt in my mind about that.
Okay, in light of what he's saying, don't forget January 6th is the deadline for newsletter articles. Could we, part of what he's saying is already part of our rules and regs.
Yeah,
Am I right?
I think so.
I cannot find that in the rules and regs.
The curb box in.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's just
I-
keep
I-
that in the,
But let's put it this way,
I
it's very simple. When there's a house being built, they connect to the curb valve and pipe it in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that already mandates that that's their responsibility.
Okay,
We do
right.
not supply a water main to their property.
Okay,
We supply a main, water main, just like the sewer,
okay,
to a connection point on their residence.
I understand, all right, that
Okay?
makes sense,
Their
At
yes.
that point, it is nothing but their problem. That's been established protocol probably for a good many years.
But maybe like CCC, and maybe we send it out as a reminder, because I'm
Yes.
telling you, the people,
Okay,
No, that's a good idea.
That's a
because
good
we
idea.
can
put that in
I
one
gotta
of
be
our,
honest
you
with
know,
Well, the
If-
newsletters come.
yeah, right, that's,
So-
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Can you do that, Susan?
yes, the water line between,
From the curb valve to the
That
house.
even includes sewer. 'cause
Is
it's
the
same thing, whether it's
responsibility
sewer
of the
line or
homeowner.
Water line,
Please
Susan.
keep this in mind if you think there is a blockage from the water main in.
Okay, let's also include sewer on that, because it's the same deal for sewer or water.
Yes.
Just things to keep in mind, that if there's a problem from the connection at your house to either the main,
There's
Whether
generally,
it's-
there's generally a lateral comes within 4 or 5 feet into the property line or whatever it
Right.
is, you know what I'm saying?
right, so between the house and the main for sewer, or the house and the curb box for water,
Right.
that is the homeowner's
And-
responsibility, property owner's responsibility.
are you sending out the people in Perks? Because
Well,
you're gonna
it's-
wanna say they're responsible from the house to the tank, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're responsible from the tank
To the ladder,
To
to
the
the
curb.
main, right.
That's in transition. Right now, they're in charge of the gravity flow to the tank unless they've either sold the place and new ownership takes over, or they've had more than three repairs,
no, second one.
second repair, okay?
The second repair gets, they only get one shot.
They only get one shot, okay? If we can prove that it is from neglect, it gets turned right over to them. We fix it, put it back online, and turn it over to them.
All I'm saying is you send it out, because what's gonna happen, I gotta be honest with you, when I talked to Karen today, she was pretty upset,
Yes.
okay? And I told her, look, you just gotta let it go, be a duck, let it roll. It's hard for some people to do that, they take it personal. And the last thing you need is Karen to come in here and hand in a resignation and say, I don't need this anymore.
So if we can write up something that goes with the rules and regs, just so we can get that into the newsletter.
I can't quit anybody, that's my problem. I just think if you get it out into people's hands, and I'll say, look, you got this letter, so.
Let's go, I think we've already taken care of the grinder pump situation many years ago, okay? Let's just stay with the water main
Because I thought
and the sewer.
it varied between different, with the sewer, right? Because some go to the grinder pump, but then if they don't have a grinder pump, never mind. I always, listening to Sam in the past, I always thought there was a difference between a lateral and a line and a main and a,
Just gravity flow systems, generally what it is, it's a 6-inch main that goes to the property line.
okay.
And then they reduce it down, they put a clean out test T there at 6 inch, and reduce it down to 4 inch and run it across their property. That's generally what the rule of thumb is, and that's pretty much what we have in the township, I do know that. There's a 6-inch line to each
Yeah,
property,
right.
okay? That way, the township or the municipal authority has the ability to easily rod the 6-inch line instead of a 4-inch line, okay? And then there's supposed to be a clean out every 50 feet, so.
All right, so what we're going to concentrate on here, though, is for the water business.
The water, yes.
The water line from the curb box to the house is the homeowner's responsibility. And flesh that out a little bit. I mean, flesh it out, make it more than one
Right.
sentence.
Yeah, and that'll go to every person in the township, whether they have water or they don't.
Right.
And I can tell them also that we're flushing it twice
Twice a month.
a month.
On Sunshine Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
where our
Sunshine
water
Hill,
is.
We're doing the hydrant at Sunshine Hill and the flush station at the bottom on
But
Bush.
we're not touching Petersburg Commons, but every,
Well, that's Duncan's water.
right.
That's
But
not-
we're still in the
Still our
flushing side.
customers.
Yeah, we
Still
still
our
have to
customers.
flush it, cause.
Well,
I
we
was
have
involved.
customers, but
Okay, but I was thinking of, for Sunshine Hill, we can tell them that it's being flushed twice a
Twice
month.
Yeah.
Now, here's one question that did arise. Do we have to give them the notice that we're flushing?
Karen did ask that, but you've been flushing it and then we haven't gotten any complaints.
Well, you don't. They call me now. Like yesterday, I gotta be honest with you, when that water main break happened, I probably took 100 calls.
I
it
didn't
took
know
100 calls.
Oh, I guarantee it. I had people.
100 calls from up there, there ain't 100 places.
I was gonna say, we only have 86 customers.
I
Oh.
had people literally call every hour.
What?
Every hour.
Yeah.
Every hour. Up until the last call, well, of course, you know, Hofer, it gotta be my last call at, 1 o'clock in the morning. Is the water back on yet? Well, I mean, I don't know, open your spigot. You have water?
I was
Guess
gonna
not.
say,
You know,
that's pretty easy to find out.
I thought the Swift Reach was very dedicated, and then the apology, second call coming out explaining when the goal was they have it back online, which was pretty close to being met, was by the end of that day, you
Mhm.
know? Days ends midnight.
If we'd have found the other shut off
It would've been-
earlier, it would have been a lot better,
I
but we couldn't
agree.
find the doggone thing.
I agree.
And I appreciate you guys finding that and taking your diligent time to avoid that.
Yeah.
I will mention Swift Reach in the newsletter article because there are people still coming in saying they're not getting it. One man called
Yes.
up from the trailer park and said he wanted it, and she said, "What's your name? Do I have to tell you that?"
Oh my gosh.
She said, "Yes, I have to enter that into whatever."
Sure.
Jack. Well, what's your last name? Do I have to tell you that?
Well, but you guys think it's funny, but I'm telling you,
Oh.
those are the kind of calls we get.
I don't think it's funny, I think it's great that you get them.
I love you too.
Don't be
But-
mean and 7.
Okay,
You blew that.
Oh my god.
we're gonna send it out in our letter, it's going out here fairly promptly, hopefully that helps some. It becomes more of an issue, we'll address it in a different way. Okay?
Oh my god.
Lou, how we doing with the testing, the lab testing?
We decided not to do it, no, just kidding. The first test went in this morning, the second one will go in tomorrow morning, because it needs the 2 consecutive.
It's Wednesday,
tests.
Thursday, so we
We
may have something back by Friday.
It's possible,
Okay.
unless they, drag it out in the early first shift or of the evening at the lab, and we don't get the results till Saturday morning. But if Keith gets it, he will take care of that.
Because
What
I was
else?
asking about, the people were asking about
Yeah.
over the weekend.
You're all-
You know,
That's
and
why
I
Karen
saw-
put on there, it could go till next
I
week.
Right,
She can-
she did a good
I
job.
worry more about Karen.
Yeah.
I really do.
She's doing
That
a-
guy was really mean.
She's doing very well.
Okay.
We had to go, we had some, we went someplace after work.
See, the nice thing is me, I can just wheel around my desk and it's right there by the coffee pot, but she doesn't have that luxury.
All right,
Had some therapy.
Mr. Chairman.
Therapy at the
Do
pub.
you need us?
I don't know, we're done with him, you're done with you.
Yeah, Bob.
Yes.
In the world of the grinder pump, you said here the homeowner could end up owning a grinder pump.
Mhm.
What's the status on that, or how did that come about?
If you sell when your daughter's house gets sold, that new guy is now in charge of it,
Right,
okay? So it's
I
his.
understand that, but now my grinder pump,
You're,
Okay.
unless you start putting
Gotta go.
diapers down in it, and he has to come and give you a warning, and then the second time, then it's yours.
If we
Okay,
find
now-
that you are neglecting the system and abusing the system, and we can justify it, we will take note of that, and on the second offense, it becomes yours.
okay, now, on that thing, is it up there with Beamer? I don't understand how he had such a perfect image of the grinder pump coming out all that white stuff that was in his grinder pump, and his line to up the schoolhouse road was plugged also. And now I understand in the one meeting or so is that this has happened to a property in Perdix. Now, is that soap buildup gonna build up on everybody? Ultimately, is everybody gonna have a chance of having that soap build up on them? Get through
It's
normal
between
use?
soap and grease, and it's a combination of everything that probably shouldn't be going down in that system of the magnitude. Like somebody takes and dumps a half a container of laundry soap in, instead of the required
it's
one
normal
little
use, yeah.
cup, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's gonna create them problems, and that's abuse of the system,
Right.
okay? I mean, you just gotta be, you can't dump grease
No,
drippings
no, I
down in there.
understand that, but under normal usage, they say.
Normal usages, there should be very few, I mean, if the grinder pump, we pull it up and find out that, hey, it just up and quit, the motor went bad, we can't argue for that,
Right.
okay? We will not, I mean, he's the guy that repairs them, he can,
I gotta be honest with you, I've worked on some of these that are 20 years old. I mean, they'll last a long time if people don't abuse them.
Right, that's understandable. You know, because now the other thing is that with the second thing, several of those pumps down there have been replaced 3-4 times, and you're putting rebuilt pumps back. Is when, at what point does it come that your rebuilt pump is the liability more so than the property owner? That the pumps are falling apart rather than that the property owners are using them.
In other words, have they been rebuilt so much that they're no good?
But there again, that
I don't.
wouldn't, you
When
can
we
answer
te-
this
when
better.
we tear the pumps
but
down, I
you can
guarantee it.
tell.
Yeah, you can tell. The parts, if we tear a pump down and the pressure switch is bad, we're not gonna tear the whole lower unit apart to get into the motor. So we put the pressure switch in, we run the pump through a test, we put it back in service, all right? Now, 3 months later, the motor could go. I can't control that. But what we're saying is, when I send my report to Susan, I just say, bad pressure switch, this was the rebuild, boom, done. When we come to the one thing where we pulled the 5-gallon bucket full of condoms out of the unit, that's not the pump's problem. That's not my techs that rebuild the pumps.
You weren't invited to the party.
And I was not invited. I don't think I'd want to be. But all I'm getting at is, we can tell when we tear those pumps apart, whether it's grease, whether it's soap, whether it's abuse. I mean, one of the worst things is people sit there and tell us, you know, hey, I didn't flush diapers down there. And I'm just looking in the pit and saying, well, there's 10 of them in there. I mean, I don't think somebody came here, pulled your pump out, threw 10 diapers in, and put your pump back in.
No, I understand that.
That's what.
I mean, we're trying to treat the customer as fair as we can. We don't want to put something bad in there. I'm gonna say most of the time, when you rebuild one, pretty much the time you're good from top to bottom on them. I mean, there's a few times that you might, but most of the time you do a full service on them.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is nothing lasts forever. And when this system all started, 12 years or so ago, that one of my questions in those meetings was, am I gonna have to talk to my homeowners in policy to maintain grinder pumps? And then, no, the township was going to maintain it, you know. But
And
now the new property owner, that's,
yep. And all future installations are the responsibility.
right.
Okay, over time, these services will go away for the municipal authority. But it's gonna be put to the homeowner. I mean, it's no different than,
The water supply.
it's no different than your dosing pump on your sand mount. Same principle, you're gonna be accountable for the repair of it when it fails, and it's gonna fail when you least expect it to fail. You know,
Every time.
okay?
All right, yes, sir, thank you.
So whether it's, and I think I understand where you're coming from, Bob, so whether it's a brand new pump or a rebuilt pump and the fins fly off of it, that's not your responsibility
That's the thing, yeah,
financially.
that's the,
Right, and it's the 8th one that they put in, you know, as long as, like you say, as long as it's not abused,
right.
that's their nightmare, not yours.
All right, anything else? Okay, Penn Township Supervisor's Report.
Helen did give me a note tonight earlier. I had a meeting, January 23rd is a Monday. See ya.
I'll
email
that title thing to you.
I am assuming at 7 o'clock, like all the other meetings. I did not get that from her. We may need to clarify that. There will be a supervisors meeting, special meeting held here that night for the medical cannabis.
Medical cannabis.
It's called marijuana.
Oh, marijuana.
As has been in the news, there are 2 permits up for grabs it's either an 11 or a 13 county area here. Penn Township is actively vying for one of those permits. And the project will be a 2-phase project from what I understand, and it's going to be up in Business Campus 1. It will be growing, extraction, and distribution. So what that means for the municipal authority, they will be using a lot of water to water their plants. And however they, okay,
That's the water up there at the well.
Right, but
That's how we get our money.
that's how we we
There'll
have
be a
sewer up
deduct meter.
there.
There'll have to be a deduct meter.
Deduct meter,
Oh.
so we're going to have sewer that's going to be coming from there.
Oh, okay.
Yay, we get a sewer customer. Boo, we may have to do something with
Treatment.
Duncannon's plant if they're not able to handle the extra capacity. So this is something we need to keep in mind as far as expenses. If Penn Township gets the permit, if everything goes according to what they hope, and this whole thing goes through, we could possibly be looking,
I'm sorry, I'm confused. Why would we get a permit for something like that?
the township has to have the permit, not us, but the township.
The township has to have a permit.
There's a
Why wouldn't the
permitting
individual
process.
have to get the permit? I don't understand that. What doesn't make any
No,
sense?
it has to come through the municipality too. They had to write a letter of support for it and everything. There's a whole lot of red tape that has to be gone through that they've been dealing with on
Oh,
their side.
Well, I don't know anything.
Will it generate a lot of flow, though?
What?
If they're just watering the plants, that would be a
But there's a
deduct meter.
distillery too, so the extraction in the distillery, I don't know, I don't grow the stuff.
Let's put it this way. Somewhere along the line upon the building permit, they're gonna have to come and see us and let us know.
That's
Oh,
true,
absolutely.
and tell us how many
Right,
EDUs.
but what they wanted us to do is to be mindful of this because
So in other words,
of our-
we probably ought to have somebody there to question these issues,
Absolutely.
Oh.
okay?
See what all's
Capacity issues,
involved.
flows, amount of waste created.
Let's get a timeline on this
Is
thing.
it managed? Okay, I mean,
Right.
this is 2 years out from what I understand.
Right,
just-
exactly.
This one lot up there, or what?
No, that I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be more than one
Yeah.
lot.
I think so, from
More
what it
than
said.
one lot.
When is
I would
this
imagine.
meeting? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, January 23rd. It is a
I
Monday.
think it is 7, I remember that.
And I would think it's 7 o'clock. They usually typically are.
Can you send an email out,
Reminder.
reminder?
Wow.
See who, like 3 or 4 days before, see who's gonna be available to
Yeah,
go,
because I'd like to go.
okay? I mean, we can go as concerned citizens, not as
Right,
board members,
right.
really,
Right,
you know?
that's
okay?
true.
I'll probably be there too.
But if
My
that's the
wife
case, one of us should be there as a representative to make questions or statements in regards to it.
On
So
behalf
that's
of
what
the
I'm trying to
authority.
say, we need to pick the right person to make that happen.
I think that sounds like CC.
No, that sounds like Henny.
We'll see. I'm gonna try to make it. I just need reminded.
We'll draw straws that night. All right, that was the only thing she asked that be passed along, because especially in light of our financial status, we don't need to be blindsided by a huge expense.
Yeah. We're gonna have enough with that plan.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. Anything else?
That was all I knew of.
Thank you. Dennis, you're up.
All right, the old Chad Smith property septic tank abandonment, still trying to get a response from the current owner of the property. I didn't get one yet, I'm gonna follow up on it. Seems like that's more difficult than it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a new owner?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a lending institution. Sometimes the correspondence just doesn't get where it needs to go to the right department or right person for a while. It's not uncommon that's a process that takes a while. Perry County Beer Connection, I spoke to Mr. Philippone. His contractor is working on drawings for our engineer to review. He expects to have those shortly. I told him we really are anxious to get this done, so I'll get an update every month on it.
And unless the board has an issue, I think it might not be a bad idea to entertain the costs. I know we talked about it, to entertain the cost of the installation of the T off the line.
Yeah, it was a minor item, right?
Okay.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Pick that up so it's properly installed, that we need to move on from there.
What are you calling?
Huh?
The installation of the
The T,
the T.
okay?
Not a
It's gonna
Y,
get all
the
done at
T.
the same
T.
time, I'm assuming they're gonna do that. I mean, I know he made a
Yes, he did.
a statement about that, and since it is part of the main infrastructure, it is the main itself, the T. maybe we ought to just pick it up and not cause a problem with that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
He puts a short piece on, curb valve, everything else, you know, it's not gonna be, shouldn't be a major expense.
Okay, now in light of an earlier discussion, is this something that should have an escrow account if Randy is reviewing things?
They need to come in and apply for a permit before you can do anything.
So we would attack that when he gets his plans.
Yeah, I mean, Randy can't look, Randy can't legally look at anything unless he has a permit.
Right. And are they aware of this? And are they aware of setting up the escrow account?
No, I
Not
don't
from
think
us.
so. I don't believe we've had that
No.
discussion.
You need to make that discussion known then.
Yeah, so that they're not blindsided. Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
However, never mind, I won't. Okay.
Keep going, Dennis.
Okay. We talked about, well, we covered Mr. Ward, I think, as much as we need to. Remaining thing for me would be the delinquencies.
Do you have a good communication with him? He replies back to you fairly prompt?
Yeah, I would say overall, yeah. No, I mean, it's maybe not always, but overall, I mean, I sent him an email the other day and I got a response in a day. I mean, hopefully, we're gonna make some progress here. We'll know by next meeting. What's going
What
on.
I'm trying to say is probably a week before the next meeting,
Yeah.
if you do not hear anything from Randy, or, do you guys get a chance to talk once in a while, Dan? I
Yeah.
don't know how you guys deal, okay?
Yeah, I talk to Randy usually at least once during the month.
Okay?
Yeah.
Say that falls on the third week,
I'm gonna give you this.
use that as a discussion,
Okay.
It's our
okay?
delinquency
Has he
list.
done anything?
We're
Have
gonna
you
start
communicated
publishing
with
it.
him, okay? And if he hasn't, maybe you need to send a reminder to Mr. Ward, we have not heard anything from our engineer in regards to you and your issues at the end of your 30-day timeframe.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean,
I'll
I
put a
hate to put
reminder.
you in there, but
No,
I need to
it needs
keep you in
get-
front of him so we know
It needs to get done.
it needs to be documented, okay? I don't want 30 days to come up and we don't see him and then we wonder why we don't have no communications, okay?
All right, and hopefully Randy will get his water, he said he was gonna supply his water meter readings, right?
Right.
I mean, that may be some component of this, that who knows what'll come out of that, but we'll
I
see.
mean, I'm not a proponent of picking up his bills
No,
in regards to, with the engineer situation here, but if he makes this go away in the time frame and stuff, I would entertain some kind of concession.
Yeah, let's see.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it would be, but I would entertain something,
yeah, let's see what comes out.
because it's a benefit for both sides to make this go away, and it'd be well worth that issue, if he's doing it in good faith. Now, if he ain't, well, then it's another story.
Yes, because there is the issue of the ready-to-serve charge that he did pay. $5,400.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff that we can, I mean,
Oh,
I'm
he
not
still
in it.
owes that, right? Oh, he paid that?
He paid that back in July.
No.
Yes, he did. That's
No,
why.
but I mean, but he still has some obligations on rental
Oh, yes, and
Right, okay,
and his
I'm sorry.
tap fee
Yeah.
for $35,000, yeah.
and his $500 a month tap fee.
Yep, a $500 a
Okay.
month tap fee and his
Well,
sewer rental.
he was reminded again tonight, so.
I mean, I understand there's issues there, and I don't wanna put the man out of business, but same atmosphere, we got financial obligations that we need to be adhered to.
Is he current on his monthly?
No, the check bounced.
Okay, that should show up on,
The reason it didn't show up here, I guess, is because he's got 10 EDUs. It would be like Fout's missing a month.
yeah, but
Yeah, but
what's the
163
difference
is
of
all
Daimler
right.
and him?
Yes, that's the issue I got.
Okay, you know what? I will,
Yeah, he really should be.
you're right.
Yeah.
All right, so that's gonna be my third, okay. It will be on from now on.
Okay.
I mean, that's gonna make that figure way more
Well,
horrible.
Well, right
That's
now,
what
he
it's
only
like.
owes 12, he only
Well,
owes
to be
November and
accurate.
December.
Hmm?
He only owes for November and December right now. the 1,200.
Well,
That's what it would show here. But you're right, it would add up to 12.
Now, that tap fee that's unpaid is not gonna show up on there though.
No, tap fees are not gonna pay, because we don't have a record of his agreement.
Well, he could be put on that tapping fee installment
On
list
that-
that we get.
This, yes, that's in the purple folder.
Installment payment list.
Yeah.
That should be on there.
Karen could stick him on there, so we get, at least you see that every
Get rid of
couple
everybody.
months.
Yep.
Level it, and be done.
Yeah, cause she,
All right,
she
so-
gives that to us each month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dennis, didn't mean
That's
to.
okay. I can tell you that on the delinquencies, the Daimler issue, I'm waiting for an update from council for members first. Should speak to somebody tomorrow, and I'll shoot you an email. But our ability to move forward with collection proceedings, relief from the bankruptcy court, that kicks in here in 2 weeks. So as soon as I'm able to, I'm gonna get the paperwork filed. And in the meantime, I'm sure I'll have an answer from members first. So I'm still confident that one is gonna be cleared up.
Okay.
$60,000.
That is
65,000.
65,000.
Well, if that's paid, you're down to 40. Your total.
What's
is down
paid?
to
Wait a
40.
minute.
Yep.
The bankruptcy, we're gonna get $20,377.59?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Plus the
No, no.
44,849.64.
No, I'm sorry. Only, that's the grand total.
Yeah.
Some of that is being paid under the plan in the bankruptcy proceeding that we can't do anything about.
So
And
how-
everything that accrued after the bankruptcy was filed would be what would be paid. I can email you the amount. It's more than half of it.
Okay.
It's more than half of it.
No.
I mean, I don't put a big dent in it.
Okay, what's our recourse on the other half, on the other part?
Well, the other part is being paid under his reorganization plan, approved bankruptcy plan, so we're gonna get,
That's all those checks we
we're
keep
gonna
getting.
get $500 a month, whatever it is, for the next few years.
Next few years?
Oh, yeah, it's a 5-year plan.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
And the whole time, the current rate just keeps.
Well, but if we get the current one, and the post-bankruptcy down to 0 and get the current one paid, there's nothing we can do about the plan payments, they're just gonna
Right.
happen.
Right.
He's protected there.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
There are some sales this month, January 27th, which I believe is a Friday, is the sheriff's sale date. Let me see who's on there.
What was the date?
January
27.
27.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
McPherson's
Number
one.
43 is on there.
43.
If she puts them alphabetically, it's McPherson.
Oh.
1841 Thompson is on. And I got a call today from the lender, the mortgage holder, who advised me that they're going to pay that before the sale date. So I should have that, whatever it is, $2,500 here within the next week or two. The last two, Wisman and Zandy, were the ones I have the paperwork prepared to file, and then the issue came up with the required escrow deposit with the sheriff that I emailed you about. Am I to understand, I just go ahead, I mean, there's more money out.
They increased the rates you have to pay, right?
Well, they didn't really, they increased the amount you have to deposit.
Okay.
It's more money out, but you
It's-
get
we're gonna-
more money back.
Yeah, we have never gone over the 750, so I don't expect we will. So we're just gonna get a much bigger deposit. And to the extent we don't, the property owner ends up paying it. I mean, that's added onto the tab. It's just that it's
just
a
means
little
that
bit of a hardship.
It's $2,500 for each one that we're gonna lose.
Well,
For a while.
it's a little
For a
bit,
while.
we won't have the money for a while. It's a
Yes.
hardship
And what's the
and
time
it's,
frame for this return to come back?
well, they get them as soon as the sale's held or stopped.
Say within 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, the whole process
Yeah,
is about
yes.
3 months.
So in other words, when we put this money out, we're looking at
You're
a
gonna
6-month window,
Yeah, you'll have it out.
or
3.
less.
Or less, 3.
Guaranteed it'll be back before 6 months.
Yeah,
No matter what, it will be
well,
back.
I have some.
No way they can go past 6
Okay,
months.
There's no way it can go past 6 months.
Okay,
no.
you see where I'm going with this? If we spend the money up front at the beginning of the year, we get it back before the end on the budget, keeps things under control. If not, that's a substantial amount of money that's laid out that carries over. The second half of the year, we're gonna have to evaluate and decide how much we wanna play this, because when we put that out, it's gonna create a negative
For the end of the year.
for the end of the year, is what I'm trying to say. So,
Yeah.
you know where I'm going here, Alan?
Yeah.
Let me make a comment here, because I don't know politically how you folks, if you know.
to 2,500.
Most of the sheriff's sales are initiated by mortgage companies, so it's big banks.
Alright.
This isn't a big deal, you know, it's whether it's $750 or $2,500.
us.
But it is a big deal for you, okay?
Yes, it is.
Most of the sales are not municipal started, municipality started. It tripled, they tripled the deposit amount, you know, that's unheard of.
Well,
I mean,
there's a reason why they're doing that. That keeps people from fouling too.
well, what I'm.
That should lower the amount of sheriff's sales if they have a big issue up there and cut back on that all cost too. It's a cost saving factor, because if you don't put money into it, you're not gonna get money out of it.
Well, but it is a bit of a hardship. I don't know if there could be some contact made by the township or somebody to the county and say, can't you just apply that, you know, not apply that to the municipal entities that are within your county?
Well, here's the issue.
They know they're gonna get the money from you, you know. If we go over the $750, they're gonna get their money.
Here's the issue I got. If we keep dragging our feet and don't foul till the price goes up, now you got that much more money laid out. Okay? So I'm gonna say, up till the month of June, we need to keep operating the way we are.
Okay.
Okay?
850 file.
Yeah,
Foul, okay?
up to June.
After June, when we think we're gonna get close to the 6 months at the end and not get our money back, then we need to start
We need-
deciding where we cut
Okay.
back and try to, okay?
Well, I won't
Not-
file,
We can't
Not
afford.
filing it.
I won't file any until you
Let's do a
approve
case
it.
by
Let's
case
do it, yeah.
basis.
let's
I mean,
do
we
it case
we
by
can't
case.
afford to have 10 sheriff sales
No.
signs out there
No.
at the end of the year closed out.
No,
We
you
need
can't.
to, we need to make sure we're tight, and that's, I hate to play the game that way, but we have no
You're
choice.
Probably have to.
You can't have 25 grand sitting in
No,
the sheriff's account.
You
No.
cannot be doing that, and it's gonna get there real easy. So I'm gonna say come June, Susan, we need to open this up and have another discussion to see where we're at and how many's coming, because there's a sheriff sale, what, September?
There is a sale, it's April, January, April, July. There's 4 a year. January, April, September, I think.
Yes, January, April,
I thought there was 4.
Just say
maybe
there's every-
every 3 months or so, yeah.
yeah.
I can get the schedule right.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe we can skip the last schedule or go 50% of our cost in the last schedule. Okay, we're going to monitor this to see where we're going to play out at the end of the year. I hate to do that,
Well,
but
the other
if
thing
we
I.
don't, it's,
The other thing I can do, I do have some control over when I file. What happens if there's a cutoff date? So to be on the January sale, for instance, you have to file your paperwork by, let's say, November 15th. Okay? You can file it October 15th if you want to, but then the money's the $2,500 is gonna sit there for an extra month. So I will make sure I don't file these any sooner or earlier in the process than we need to, so we have our money out less.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have filed them a bit early, because I like to get the notice out quickly enough and get it to the banks and see what's
and
gonna happen.
sometimes we have no choice.
Right.
We have to do it early. So that's going to be a judgment call, Dennis. okay?
I'll just report to you on each one. I
Yeah.
won't file one until you've, and I do anyway, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going here.
Okay.
So that's, so I'm gonna go ahead then with the last two, Wisman and Sandy. I'm just gonna file them, and I'll be on for, April.
Okay.
However, I guess I will wait now until we get closer to my cutoff date,
Yeah.
so we don't have it out there. There's a couple of these that are, you know, they look large here, but I mean, when I talk to Karen, there's payments being made, and it's, I will go back through them again, make sure that any we need to pursue, that I'm getting the list to you and doing it. but I know the last two that, on this list, Wisman and Zandy are the last two that I actually prepared the papers. You know, one on here that makes this number higher, Tashik, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's
That was
just,
the board's decision to keep on. That's
Right.
that part.
I mean, you're never gonna get that.
No, you're not.
The lot is, that's really a write-off, I mean,
But it's foul.
the liens are there, the liens are there against the property, but the property's probably not worth.
And the property hasn't moved at all, right? It's still under. I mean,
Right,
I don't even think it's listed for sale.
Well, we need to keep it
Well,
listed
leave it
because
on
we know
there.
we got a note against it.
right.
I know everything that's on here, we have a note against, and that's the easiest way of tracking it, not to
Yep.
be offensive. Because
No,
once
it's
it
just-
disappears in here, how's is somebody gonna wanna go back and find it somewhere in lost other, I mean, we ain't gonna keep a secondary book.
No, you're right.
No.
You're
So you
right.
need to put
You're right.
anything that's fouled in here.
You're
All
right.
right.
Just keep in mind, that one is a
And,
little
yeah, it's
different.
just, it's a knowledge thing, and that's,
And if I didn't say it, McPherson is already on the January 27 list,
Yes.
so that's a big one.
I think 1160 is going down too, ain't it?
Oh.
Did they take it down?
Yeah, that's
11
down.
months.
I think so. It says payments being made. Are they consistent?
Where is?
No.
Why am I not?
They're not
seeing it?
consistent.
No,
Oh.
695.04 was last month.
Yeah,
maybe,
that-
they are.
That did go
It's down by
down.
$40.
Yeah, it went down some.
I mean,
That's
it-
not
it
even a
went-
month's payment.
No, but
Seriously?
it was up in
Oh,
Yeah,
it was up above
Yeah.
the threshold.
Yes, it was up there, it's coming down, that's what I'm getting at. I'm seeing things that, even though it's small, it's a step in the right direction here, and we gotta accept that it could help us. In an end of a year's time frame, it adds up.
It does.
I mean, it might not be zero, but it might be 50% of it.
Yep.
Well, you know what it just, the list is long, and it seems like there's more of the $200, $300, $400 items on here, and, you know, they add up. I mean,
Yeah.
Add up to what, $106,000?
Maybe I should,
That's a
you
lot
know,
of
a
money.
lot of people on this list I've never communicated with. Karen does.
Right, she sends them the
I'm
letters.
just wondering if anybody on this list that I haven't ever written to, maybe it wouldn't hurt for me to write them a letter and just say, you understand, you're delinquent, you know, we're gonna be we are getting aggressive about collection, and we're gonna pass our fees along to you if you don't get these cleaned up. I mean, I can tell you,
Not yet.
there's gotta be 10 on here that I've never
With what we're gonna
communicated
do
with.
here, this is gonna get advertised.
I was just gonna, after he's done here, I'm gonna bring that up,
Okay,
so.
so that's gonna happen, so we
Okay,
keep you out of this a little bit, because, don't worry, Dennis, you cost us money.
all right. Well, then I
Not to
bet-
be offensive.
No, I hear you, but there's a good 10.
Oh, my God.
A good 10 or more on here that I have never written to,
Okay,
because
I
they've
understand
never
that,
really
so-
gotten to me.
Well, because they're just not high enough.
Right,
Well,
Yeah.
but there's
but they add up, you know? You got
And
three-
sometimes they pay them down
$300,
just enough
$400.
to keep them off the radar.
Right.
And that's what they're playing, you know, it's,
But there's two there over the radar that aren't listed for sheriff. 1139, Dively.
Yeah, and that one, there was a big payment, there was a payment made. That one, I talked to
He was
Karen
going to
about.
come in this morning, he called today and said, I'm coming in today to pay this all off. And then he called later on and said, no, I can't make it, I'll be in on Monday.
Because it's higher than it was last month.
Well,
Yeah.
then if it's not taken care of Monday, oh, go ahead. How's
Look
that
at
sound?
it for April sale.
Yep,
okay?
All right, and the other one is, I took my finger off of it.
oh my God.
1113, same deal.
Yes, same thing. I'll talk to Karen about that. Actually, all three of the Howells, I will talk to her about. I know I wrote them all again, but we're up above the threshold for two of them.
Yep.
So they'll be on too if there's no good reason not to.
Oh, my.
Okay?
Okay, I'll revisit the.
Are both of Raj's places there, and is he covered in bankruptcy
Yeah.
protection with both of those?
He is.
Okay, I sort of thought so.
Now, he was I wrote to his attorney because he was not paying his post petition after bankruptcy bill. The attorney must have read the riot act to him because he was in touch with Karen about a payment plan to get the last 4 or 5 months current and then paying the the monthly bill as it comes due. Because if he doesn't do that, I'll move the bankruptcy court to give us relief from the stay.
And what's
I
that?
wish he would sell the one property, that would help everybody, I think.
Yeah. And what's the 183 there, Strayer? And there's a hearing February 14th.
He has an apartment complex out on Butcher Shop, or out on Newport Road, a 4-unit. And I'm not quite sure why she put that. I guess just because she filed it with the DJ and now they're saying that's when the hearing is. The hearing just means nothing, unless they want to contest it.
Well, then we'll have a judgment. She'll get a judgment.
And then she'll get a judgment on it. And then
I'll
she can
follow
file
up
the
with her
lien.
on
Oh,
that
you're
one.
talking about right there outside of Petersburg Commons.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay. I'm sitting there saying,
Where?
and it took me a while to realize that there is a couple of units in there.
That one I don't remember, I mean, that already. You say
Well, see, that's
200 bucks.
he's got
Okay.
4 units,
That's
so,
it,
yeah.
Okay, I'll check with her on that one as well.
Anything else, Dennis?
Nope.
We're
All
done
right.
with you?
No,
I want
have
to
a
talk
question.
about this, when she's done, I want to talk about this list.
We discussed this a couple times before, over several months, about researching the physical disconnect. Where do we stand on that? For people that blatantly are not paying, they're delinquent, they know they're delinquent, they still don't pay, we're getting nowhere as far as any kind of payment, and we talked about a physical disconnect. How do we stand legally with that?
Well, I can tell you that there is one, I think I did report, there's one authority that I know of, a very large authority in western Pennsylvania that does that. They have a whole procedure set up, which I can provide you. I have all their data when I looked into it before, where after a certain number of notices and so forth, if the bill's not paid, they send a backhoe out, they dig it up, and they plug it. That's the only one I know of that does it, but it is a big authority. They've been doing it for years. I can't tell you that if it would be challenged, if that kind of a procedure would be challenged, there would be a fight in court, let's put it that way. There's no court authority on it one way or another, so there's no decided opinions that I can look at and say, yeah, the court's addressed this. I can see arguments either way for it, so I can't guarantee you that it would hold up if challenged, but you know, I'm to the point where until somebody tells us not to do it, maybe we ought to consider.
You might reserve that for a really, really.
Well, you were saying though.
Well,
that-
you could.
I mean, you could do that too. I wouldn't want to, I don't see how we could do that on a, you know. I mean,
Well, but what did you say, that as soon as they put the PA1 call,
Well,
when they start painting that, that gets
what
results?
the manager told me is that, yeah, once they come out and they start spray painting where they're gonna dig and do the PA or the one call, notice that even the toughest of their delinquencies will pay.
When the physical.
They have almost no problem.
And when it, yeah,
And I mean, they have thousands of customers. This is a joint authority.
and they send out the heavy equipment then and just kind of
They
park it
just-
there,
they
and
just do
then
it. Now,
that does it
creates
too.
its own, I don't know what it creates. The sewage can't leave the house.
well,
So
they
the
might be,
occupants have to, it's unfit for human habitation.
they might be reconstructing some privies though down in the certain areas.
Well,
I only bring that up because we discussed this.
well, let me send, do you want me to I can send you the procedure around to look at it and see what you think?
That was on my list to ask tonight.
All right, I have,
Great minds think alike.
It was
Well-
online too, because they were going to talk about doing that in January. You were going to start talking about it.
I will send you what I have and we can look at it. I'm almost inclined to say what's the,
How about
I mean,
shutting?
to me, the worst case scenario is that somebody takes a challenge in court and the court says you
Probably,
can't
if you
do
do
that.
that, you probably want to put an excavator out on bid for.
Here's where the problem comes in. Most
So we know
of
what
the
cost is.
time,
Right.
Flat fee, this is what you do, come in, dig it up, replace it for this fee.
and that's what they have a whole fee schedule that is, I mean, they have a system, you know?
Yep.
Because they've been doing it for
Now, I'm
years.
assuming this is gonna get terminated right where you come out of
Yeah, I
the
think it's right.
5-foot area.
Yep, yes.
Consequences there ain't good.
No, I mean, it's not a good.
Could be deep and dangerous.
The legal issue is that typically a municipality can only do things that a statute says you can do. And if the statute doesn't specifically say you can disconnect somebody's sewer line, that at least raises the issue. Okay, can you do it? Now, there are some powers that we have that are implied powers from specifically permitted things. So I think you can make a pretty convincing argument. I mean, you can cut off water
Right.
for a delinquent
And
sewer.
when you look at
When
this
you have
list,
public water, okay, now obviously not a well, but you can cut off water, so you get to the same place on the water side, so you can see some analogies. But of course, the argument on the other side of that is, yeah, but cutting off water is specifically permitted by statute. So there is a statute that says you can do that. There isn't a statute that says you can just disconnect the sewer line.
so you can't go in and shut off the grinder pump, because almost all these people have a grinder pump.
Well, that's what that would get to that, yeah. I mean, that's what would have to happen.
Rather than
They
physically
can't
disconnecting.
They cannot discharge sewage into your main line, whether it's pressure or otherwise. I'll send the stuff around. If things don't improve dramatically, I'm inclined to, I mean, I can't guarantee you that if we get contested that we would
I
prevail.
could see trying to shut off the grinder pump.
I'm not sure I wouldn't try it.
You know, shut off the grinder pump first, see what
I'll
happens.
send the stuff around.
Turn off the
Thank
water.
you, Dennis.
No, I don't know.
Turn the grinder pump off, pull the pump.
And we've
Get in
got
there,
places
get
here
those
where
call
we,
in.
other places where we can pull the water, we can have the water shut off, and if we have to go to the borough and ask them to shut it off and we pay their share of the water, it's still, I mean, there's some things here you could do.
Okay.
All right, this list.
Mhm.
On that letter that I sent around to the people about the rate increase, I said that we were going to start publishing the list. We got at least 15 responses saying, good, they're waiting for it. People want to see it.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, we're not gonna put the account number,
Nope.
not gonna put any of this stuff in the right column.
Nope, you put the person's name and the amount.
Okay, can I put that in the newsletter?
Yes.
And then I'm gonna, what?
Why not? That's free.
That's what I wanted to do, and the other thing is, we're gonna stick it on the website.
Yep.
Because we have a page, and Helen's even going to show us how we can get onto that page, because we can start posting our rules and regs and all of that kind of stuff.
That way we're doing it with minimum cost.
Yes,
Yes.
oh, there
See
is no
what-
cost, right now,
That's
there's
what I'm
no
saying,
cost.
Minimum cost, there is none.
Yeah.
Let's see where it goes from there, and if we get good results out of it, then maybe we want to push it to the next level.
Mhm.
Okay.
And please add Mr. Ward to that list before that gets published.
Ah,
That was my second item, I just checked off.
Told you.
Ed Ward. Okay.
Tired of dancing and dance.
Newspaper, newsletter, and the township website. Now, this is a public list, correct?
That's a public document.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah, that's a public.
This is a
document.
public journalist here, so I'm giving it to him.
Oh, my.
Yeah, that's a document that you produce every month.
Yep.
It's a
That's the way I look at it.
public document, anybody from the public would.
And they do come in and ask for, there are some who come in and pay
If
for
somebody
it.
filed a right to know request, you'd have to provide.
We do give it to them, yes.
Okay?
Okay.
Anything else, Dennis?
No.
All right. Treasurer's report.
$67,000 worth of bills for this month.
Wow. Wow.
I have a couple questions on there.
Okay, shoot.
All right. The first IJ technical, the $9,509.92. How much? This is a loaded question. How much of that's reimbursable to us?
None.
Oh.
That's what you're
That's the
paying him to
problem.
do, to repair the grinder pumps.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. The
There's-
other question I have is like 5 or 6 below that. For Tubby's,
Yes,
for the pump, what's that about?
I don't know that. The bills here, I would have
Yes,
to go
yes, I
back
know
to
what that's about.
last month's meeting
That is the
somehow.
pump that goes in their wet well, not Tubby's, but that's the wet well at Tubby's.
It's a-
Remember that
oh.
malfunction?
It
We
says,
bought an extra
Okay.
pump because it failed.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of, but then when I saw
well, it says Tubby's PS, pump station.
pump station,
Okay.
okay.
Because
And
that's
it's a
what they're
pumping
calling
station.
it.
Nobody
Because I
knows
thought,
how
oh
to
gosh, we
label
have
it.
a second, okay.
Cost us $6,623.
Yipper,
Listen, that's probably the first time that pump's ever been touched.
ever, yeah.
And that's
20 years.
And I took that expense out of capital reserve, although we really don't have capital reserve now. But I took it out of, lift repair, capital reserve, I guess.
Man. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Those wet wells are expensive. They work, they're long-term, they're durable, they last, but when they fail, it's not a cheap thing to do.
Well, it certainly is not.
Okay, and that's the other thing when we decide, that's the benefit of what we have when we decide to reroute and go across the bridge. We don't have to, we can manipulate our stuff, and we do not have to add pumps to that system because we're using the one down Duncannon to make it happen.
Right, right.
So we've got a good, okay? I mean, that's gonna be more just piping to tie things in than it's gonna be anything else, which is gonna be bad enough for the excavation underneath the bridge and go over and tie up. I mean, it's gonna make a mess. when
Do you
we
want to
decide
list
do
the
that.
bills?
So, okay?
Make a motion, the orders be drawn, the bills be paid.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded to pay the bills.
That's
All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, the financial report. You have $63,734 sitting in Mary's bill.
It's not good.
98,000 sitting up in Members First. That is the sum of your money. I keep telling you every month it goes down.
Well, yeah, it started going up now, huh?
Well, right below that gives you a good picture of how the year went. 57,000 in the hole.
That's true. We did lose that. And we paid some good, a lot of that, if you'll see down on the bottom, and I even have it highlighted, was your DEP consent order. $33,000 right there.
Yep.
We paid a lot of
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Non-productive things.
Yes, we really got hit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that gives you a good snapshot of the year right there in one line.
Yeah. Now, the revenue this month was not very high. It's usually 50-some thousand. Some of that was because of the holidays, and there was no mail. And the building was closed on, like New Year's Eve. So while I've subtracted that money from their bills when I sent their bills out, because I entered it in my computer, it didn't go into the bank until January. So the good news is by next month, you will be down less than $5 million that you owe.
Yahoo.
Out of what, 7 million?
Well, I don't know what we started with years
The
ago.
Penvest
7
loan?
million.
The Penvest loan?
Yeah, that's Penvest loans.
How many, we got 3 loans.
3 of them.
Well, we have two to Penvest and 1 to the borough. You owe the borough 41,000 and the Penvest are the rest. One of them will be done in 5 years, if that makes you feel better.
What, the one that done can?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The one's not too Duncannon, but that one will be paid off.
The middle one there, Elmer.
Yeah.
That was the one that did to Penn Manor and all the upgrades for all the gravity flow system that went into Duncannon.
No, well that was the original, but that was, no, that was the bottom one. That's that's your $4 million one. This is when they first,
that's right.
This is when they first had to do the upgrade to put in, because you've had this thing for 30 years, and there's only 5 left. So you figure, go back whenever they did that, or close to 30. When did they put sewer in Lower Duncannon? When you had to upgrade the plant to buy into it. I think that's what this is.
Yeah, that's the one that pays for the wet wells there. That's the one that goes all the way out to Tubby's. That's that whole infrastructure.
Yeah.
Picks up Little Boston and everything else.
Yeah.
I agree, that was probably part of that operation,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that was a big one, and I could go back and see when it was taken out, but we're getting on the final pages of the
I
amortization.
remember when I hooked places up, oh man, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Dennis would remember it.
Well, I remember the project. I would have thought that was in the late 80s, early 90s. Does that sound right?
Oh, I realize it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
80s,
Oh, yeah,
90s.
91, right there, on the beginning of it.
In 91.
Oh, yeah, okay, see, all
Are you
right.
sure that wasn't Sunshine Hill? That's more like it. That sounded more like it,
That could
Sunshine
be.
Hill. Sunshine Hill was the first part to be done. Yes, that's Sunshine Hill.
Was that done before Lower Duncannon?
Yes,
Mm,
yes, yes.
Okay,
You guys have been
I'll
done that
research
long.
that. No point in,
One Penvest loan was paid off. right?
Yeah, that
Okay,
was the
that
treatment
even
plant
real-
itself.
real-
that was an upgrade to the plant for
Yeah,
something.
that's
but-
the upgrade of the plant, so we could take all this and dump it into it.
Mhm.
That was the purpose of that one. But I'm pretty sure it's Sunshine Hill.
Yeah, I'll get myself another copy of that.
That's almost positive.
Yeah, you can have it.
Because
Make a note right now.
I
Get
didn't
myself
start working with brother till mid.
make the minutes
He did a
with.
bunch of stuff in the early 90s by himself, and he did all Sunshine Hill by himself. I didn't do much up there,
Amazing.
but I did other places. a lot.
No, your brother did one.
Yeah, but I mean, that's how long ago it was. And he did that all on his own. Very seldom did he have me up there. All right?
Yep.
All right, what's the wish?
Well, it's just a financial report, so we just need somebody to accept it.
Also move, subject to audit.
Second.
From regularly moved and seconded, accept the financial report. Subject to audit. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
No.
Okay, executive secretary report.
None that I know of. She's
Okay.
doing a very, very good job. She really is.
I stopped in. I forget when.
Yes, and she felt bad about that. First off, we've got some problems in this office, and we're gonna go to Helen, and we're gonna tell them, we don't want this daggone cable. They got the cable for free. The internet is so screwed up. She'll sit there, and I sit there, and you just sit because you're waiting to get on the bank's website, and you sit, and you sit. And so she's sitting there, and she's waiting for that. She's waiting for something else, and in walks Henny, who she's only seen twice. And she's just sitting there doing nothing because we're waiting for all this electronic stuff.
And she
to
really
work.
probably didn't know who I was.
Yeah, she did know who you were.
Did she feel bad?
Yes, she did feel bad.
I didn't say nothing.
I know, but she felt bad.
I'm not gonna tell you what I was thinking, but that's still besides the point, but that's
Well, what
okay.
she was, you were probably, she felt, because she said, he probably thinks I'm just sitting here doing nothing. And she said there was nothing I could do.
This is Blue Ridge, right?
Yes, so, and what they had to do was they cut the embark cable somehow, the way I understand it. So we're going to Helen and tell her we want the embark back. I don't care if it was free, we're still paying for embark because we were in a contract with them anyway. And we're just getting nowhere, so that's a different story.
You gotta have that.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it's financially holding us up, we need, yeah.
Yeah,
We
'cause
need to change.
that's
'cause-
why she was sitting there, because she felt bad. She said, I know he thinks I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
Well, now that I know that, the next time I stop by, I can, use that.
Oh, because we had the TV on too. Every day at 11 o'clock, put on The Price is Right, you know?
Oh, my
Since we have
God.
cable, she watches, you know, well, so she has that
All
on.
right.
All right, next, moving on.
JOAC meeting, January 19th. This is a new date
Mhm.
for the new year.
Thursday.
It's a Thursday. I hope it did not impact or change the rules for anybody. I hope we can all make it. I'm curious to see where this is gonna be. This will be the first one after a Duncannon meeting. So maybe it's gonna have a better impact for us to make decisions 4 or 5 days after their meeting.
Is this one Cedacog's going to be there?
Not at the JOAC meeting.
He's going to be there earlier in the day
He's gonna be at
then?
the board meeting.
Because that's also, she said, Thursday the
Their board
19th.
meeting.
He's gonna be at their
Their
council
board-
meeting.
their
Yeah.
Oh,
council
so that's not the 19th then?
No.
That's my mistake. I thought you guys said it was
Oh,
January
I
19th.
thought he was coming on the 19th to the JOAC.
He's going to Borough Council. That's him, and that was a letter from Mr. Nace.
Okay,
Okay, that all came out of between Finnan and Nace and them. That's where Siegel was communicating with.
Okay,
Okay, that was not our meeting. That was the JOAC.
okay.
But their meeting's before ours.
Right,
Okay, so we will know a lot better. We're on a couple days after that.
okay.
Theirs is the 17th, right? Is it the 17th?
Yeah, they meet the third Tuesday.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be the 17th.
Okay, so we'll have better results. It might work out better for us. Because now we both have the ability to have, you know,
So I can wait till 7 o'clock to come to these meetings now?
yeah, if you wish.
Because I'm assuming, well, if you're going to have a meeting afterwards, you know, unless
Yeah.
somebody takes minutes, I'll come to the first one, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what's up. I mean, hopefully we don't have to make any actions and,
Well, you might for some of them, so, but that's
Okay.
fine.
all right. incoming, outgoing correspondence,
Yeah.
okay, periodicals, they're there. Old business, Smith property, you already addressed that. Hurricane Beer Connections addressed. News article, we've pretty much
Okay,
took
what
care-
I'm gonna do is put in there about the water line at the Sunshine Hill business. I'm gonna put in the delinquent list. And
That's gonna be a pretty good pile for us in there.
did you want anything about why the rates were increased, or they already got the letter, so we don't
Read the
need
letter.
Yeah.
put the letter in? No, they got the
No,
letter,
they
all
got
right.
that.
I think there's enough going in there. I think we're gonna be taking enough in the newsletter.
Well, okay, because that article about Sunshine Hill's not gonna take too long.
No, but the delinquents will.
That's gonna be a page, okay?
That's a page, so, I mean, we don't wanna play,
No.
I think it's a community newspaper for, if we have to, we'll save something else, okay?
Okay.
You may wanna explain to them that the delinquency thing will be kept updated monthly on the website, if you decide you're
Yep.
gonna do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Compliment on that way, they can look there. Give them the website, let them run with it, okay?
Okay. After first Wednesday. Okay.
New business, 22 watershed abatement.
That was Charlotte Kisner, and that's in the folder here. That would be, Charlotte Kisner has some properties
Yes.
on Watershed. She has a property. She said nobody's lived in it for 2 years. Well, I don't know what the letter says here, but there's no electricity, there's no something or other.
No power.
Yep.
And so she said, I'm not paying the bill anymore. Now, I did send her the bills because we haven't taken any action, but
I think since the other utilities have been disconnected, I don't see any reason to continue to bill her for
I'm assuming
sewer.
they got the water set off from Duncannon?
yes.
Okay, so it's kind of a mute
And I-
issue.
And I think that's even in that letter.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we abate that property.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been regularly moved and seconded that we abate that property. Any discussion? The only question I have is abating that property, does that, don't require us to terminate the sewer line, does it?
Well, you've done that before, though, when people have pulled their water, when they've pulled the electric meter, that place down beside Cove Center, that white building. You
Yes.
abated him,
The old Ellenberger, was the Ellenberger?
yeah,
Yeah, I think there were a couple.
yeah.
Okay,
What's the circumstance on it?
Nobody's lived there, and she's not planning on having anybody live there.
And it doesn't have electric service? Okay.
No. Water's been shut off.
Not being sold?
Nope,
At this point.
not at this point. It's a different situation.
Could that pump be pulled?
there is no pump.
No, that's,
Oh, that is gravity down there, yeah, you're right.
Yep, that's gravity.
Okay.
Okay, that's the end of discussion. All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, February 1st, 2017, reorganizational meeting, okay? Anybody that wishes to become chairman, please voice their content and desire to do so.
I think-
Or any other
Thank you for doing
position
that.
that would like
Thanks.
to.
Thanks.
can Dennis be chairman?
It would be nice if somebody else took over the reins, but
Well,
I'm not,
we need to talk a couple minutes about filling an empty chair.
Some position, yeah.
I've talked to 2 people who turned us down, and the owners talked to one fellow that said no,
And I've talked to one.
and you talked to one.
Do we put it on the cable TV? I did put it in the letter.
Yeah.
You know, that there was, we could put it in the newsletter.
Newsletter, yeah, I just.
yep, I was just getting ready to say that. We have a vacancy on the board.
And just keep scratching till next month and see if we can come up with another name, somebody else.
Okay.
Okay.
As of the letter, we had a vacancy opening and, you know, I'm pretty sure it's still gonna be open,
Yes.
okay? And oh,
exactly
by
how
the
to get
way,
door
Alma,
down.
No, there's not a long list.
just to let you know, you were reappointed last night.
Oh, yes.
I forgot to tell you because you could be operating illegally.
Like that's the
Unfortunately,
first
you're
time.
Whatever.
not.
I mean, everything you've done tonight would have been wrong.
Well, usually it is.
Ask your wife, right? Ask your
Especially
wife.
at home.
But we went and witnessed it last night, so we were able to confirm that because we should have had a written letter confirming that you
Yes.
were reconfirmed
Boy,
before
that's
tonight's
good.
meeting.
You've been down to
Oh, I
three.
didn't even
Things
think
have been-
about that. Well,
Yes. And
no,
I did-
because they don't do it till their organizational
And that was
meeting.
Last
last
night.
night.
Oh, okay,
Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is if they would have rejected him,
okay.
he would have been null
He
and void.
would have been sitting back there.
Yeah, he'd have been a spectator.
Then you'd be looking to fill two. Yeah.
And I should have thought to mention that too with the supervisor's report. I never gave it a thought.
If we,
Sorry.
if you don't fill it, does the board fill it then? Do you go to the board and say, the supervisors and say,
I mean,
hey,
if we have a difficult time, I mean, they generally leave us alone to ourselves and think of a nomination, but they will have, they have the ability if they want to
Yeah,
go out
they
and find
do.
somebody. They know there's a vacancy. They're more than welcome to make something happen. They can override whatever we're doing. It's not an issue.
They're the ones that appoint.
They're the ones who appoint.
They really are. Now, sometimes municipalities will have, people will say, hey, I would do some public service, let me know. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to check with the chairman of the board, or maybe Helen, to see if she has a list of people that are interested in
There's enough
serving.
other positions in this
Hey,
township.
Sue,
Why would
Susan,
somebody want this?
Well, you probably wouldn't.
Although this is probably
Put
most
the newsletter
ungrateful.
with that vacancy that it's well paid.
Yes, very well. It pays very well.
Coffee and bologna and cheese.
Yep.
yeah, well, I'd like to vary the diet, but I don't have time to deal with it. I still don't have an auditor. I don't know what's going on with Mr. Morris. He just is not getting back to me, and I don't understand. That's very, very unusual. This guy is very, very, I mean, and then I've been sick for the past 2 weeks, so I am going to,
And Susan, with that being said, then that means we may need to have to make a decision at the JOAC meeting about putting out stuff to get a new auditor.
yes.
And see, he's not doing municipal audits anymore, and we had questioned that. You had talked to him.
Right, and
he said
I think according to his email, he didn't say, yes, I'm going to do yours. He just said that municipalities were too hard to handle. That they wanted to get out of that, but not necessarily the authority. And I took it from that yes, he's going to do it, and maybe he's just holding back because he hasn't had time to come up with a price yet, but it's usually been cheaper each time than, anyway, I will find out because we don't want to switch companies. And he is very reputable, and so something's just going on that they're either not passing the messages to him or I'm going to go camp out at his doorstep if I have to.
We need to have some meeting in the future here about the new proposed development. Jim and I have met twice with these folks, and we need to, I think, inform the rest of the board. They are interested in working with us on the water supply, and of course the sewer system. They want to go down, their old plan there. So I think we need to have a special meeting sometime in the future to discuss this.
Just for that?
Yeah, I mean, no, not just to discuss that, but,
You want to bring it up at the JOAC?
no,
After
I don't
the
know.
J-
Yeah, I
after-
think we had
After the JOAC meeting?
well, we could do that maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do they have any blueprints? Have they submitted a plan to the township yet?
no, they just told us what their plan
They've
is.
expressed their desires.
Yeah.
So really, it's not much that you can say other than that.
No, other than to inform you folks what they're thinking about doing, and, that's all.
I mean, other than cutting the road and stuff, there ain't a whole lot that, until you see the drawings and the proposed plans, it's kind of a mute issue. I kind of figured they were going to get rid of the sewer. I didn't think they wanted to pump it.
Well, the water is an interesting subject, since we don't know what's gonna happen with Duncannon, or, but we do have an interested party that might be able to
We may be able to rework something in a different
rework
direction.
something money-wise there with, they,
Yeah. I mean, the water sides would be more receptive for us to discuss.
yeah.
Do you want to do that in JOAC afterwards? I mean, take a half hour is what you're saying?
Whenever you wanna do it, I mean.
Would it be about half
They're gonna
hour?
be asking for another, Jim and I have been, you know, we
10 minutes.
said in what, two meetings so far?
Yeah, and you know, they put out that letter about their intentions for the next 3 years. They do have plot plans for that property. I can get a hold of, I've had pretty good rapport with one project manager.
Alpha Engineering.
Well, I know that engineer, but this is more away from the engineering side, more to the builder side.
Okay.
And Elmer and I were just talking about that earlier. And, I mean, I could call him and find out if there's any updates, if they, you know, I don't know what else we can do, you know,
We
until
can't
they.
do nothing because we don't know.
Well, I know.
I mean, there's not,
But I'd like to know if there's any further updates from the last meeting we've had with them.
there's gonna be, what, 70-some units, right?
Yeah.
No, they're looking at 131 now.
Well, that's right.
Oh, they were gonna take it back up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then with
Yeah.
that, then we're back talking the same thing we were when we originally were discussing.
Pretty much. I would think.
Good, so who kept all this?
But it's in phases.
Yeah, I don't know how many phases, I forget.
I think there's 3 phases.
And-
I got some information.
I understand
Yes,
that, yes,
it
it
was
is in
3
3
phases.
phases. My question is how much would they be willing to put up front?
That's what we gotta negotiate,
What
that's
we
what I'm
gotta
talking, that's why you need to sit down and.
I mean, because that's gonna be the hiccup issue. and-
We already have, they already went through this process with them before.
I mean,
know.
now we got a number that we can tell them this is what this whole complex is gonna cost.
Yeah.
Because now we built the design and engineering.
Well, we don't know if we're gonna go with that design, we may not need all that too, who knows, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we were.
But you gotta have the
basi-
plans to work off of.
But those plans were originally planned
Yeah,
with that kind of
Well-
structure in it.
If that's what they're still intending.
yeah. Actually, they're intending more, now I don't know whether the township's gonna give them more, I don't know.
Well, this
But-
is dated February 11th of 16.
Right.
27, actually, it's down, it's 74 units.
And that's what I thought, 74
Yeah,
units.
but I think they're talking more than that now.
131 they're talking now, or something like that,
But
which, you know, I mean,
obviously, this will go up.
you know, if they can pony up some money, well, they're gonna have to pony, if we're gonna, they don't want a patrol wells over there, they want to put, I wouldn't either. So, we've got possibility here, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, the only thing we had on top of where we were at, we were putting about 500 some foot of water main on top of that thing, which was, so basically we were looking at a little over a mil, which was kind of close to where we were before, because we were talking 9 with them before.
We had a thing already, I have to dig it out.
Yeah, but we were at 9 before, and it's up to, it would be like 1.2, so it's like another 300. And we agreed on 1/3, 2/3 cost structure, is what we were shooting for.
What would you, we agreed to what?
1/3, 2/3 cost structure, us 1/3, 2/3 him.
I don't
Third
remember
us, 2/3 down.
When we were building water structure.
Yeah, when we were.
Water system, they
yeah.
were gonna go.
I don't know
2/3.
what was the size of the, well, we.
The tank was the same as what we got.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we promoted it that level.
150.
Yeah, if, put it this way, it would have been no less than 120, but I think 150 is what we were shooting for.
Well, if there's that many units going in there, you're gonna need 150, I would almost believe, or
Plus the.
another section on top of that.
Right.
Well, I'm heartened by the fact that they're interested in,
At the end.
you know, our
I
system.
mean, it opens up a different direction
Yeah,
in case something
absolutely.
falters the other.
Yeah, absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, I'm optimistic for all of them, so, all right.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been regularly moved, seconded to adjourn. All in favor, go to consent to saying aye.
Aye.
Because in
Opposed?
6 minutes, you gotta reconvene.
21:52.
Dennis, did you talk to